What's up, benches? Hello. It's Sunday. Sunday fun day. Hello, hello, hello. I hope everybody's doing okay. I feel like I've been doing all right so far this morning. Not much to complain about. Let me get my chats all together and ready. There we go. The website chat. I need that. Need that. I just saw that apparently Streamlabs has now made their dual streaming function free. So I might start dual streaming to Twitch now. Now that I don't have to pay $150 for Streamlabs Ultra or whatever they call it. But anyway, hi, good morning. The boy has made his entrance in a box. Thank you for the $30 dono, getting us started off strong. They said rain check back in about 1 hour. Yeah, I'm sorry you got called away. Hopefully it's nothing serious. But thank you for your donation. I'll add that to the goal. I did not have time. You may see that the box is open and empty. I did not have an opportunity to fill the treasure chest with anything today, so I just put the boy on there. Like, even though recently I've been picking up the boy and showing him off a lot, I don't know. I could also give you a flex because it's been a while since I did one of those. Not that I'm imagining it'll be particularly impressive, but regardless, we want to put something. Oh my god, what has happened? Did I turn off Numlock? Oh my god, no fucking wonder. Something was acting weird on my computer last night and I couldn't figure it out. And apparently the answer is that because I turned off Numlock by accident. Anyway, good gracious. Now that's updated. Number go up. Burr. I love it when number go up. And Jimmy stole all my money. Yeah, no, completely. I get it. And thank you all so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like just to start out with, if you all didn't know, I are we putting Mitternacht in the box? I don't think so. I think he's way too big for that. If I had a kitten, I did imagine if I had a brand new kitten, like if I were to leave the box closed, but it's empty, and then when the time comes to show off the new cat, be like, "Oh, what's this?" And then just grab the cat from like the floor and be like, "Whoa!" Like, I don't know. I just thought that would be kind of funny. But anyway, thank you all so much. We did a fundraiser yesterday. Well, basically all week, but yesterday was kind of the main event. We were trying to raise money for the Secular Student Alliance, and we crushed our goal. I don't even know what the end ended up being because I didn't stick around for the last 2 hours. I had Saturday things to do on my Saturday. Uh, but yeah, we raised $60,000 at least for the Secular Student Alliance, which is wonderful. I really deeply believe in, like, you know, basically getting young people involved in activism, regardless of what it specifically is. But of course, I think secular activism is a good jumping off point that doesn't require you to buy into a whole belief system or anything in order to help people in the community. And like an investment in skeptical thought and reason in our young people is an investment in a future based on science and reason, you know. um but yes, thank you everybody for showing up for the event. Thank you everybody for donating to the Secular Student Alliance. uh you are going to get the reward. Okay, we have currently, what we've landed at, thank you Quantum Chaos, is $66,301, which included a $10,000 match. Basically, when we got up to 50,000 with just regular independent donations, we had a matching donor who gave us $10,000. So we just went basically from 50,000 straight up to 60,000. And yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I love to see that kind of turnout, and people kept saying it throughout the event, but it in this day and age where you've got like Charlie Kirk and TPUSA, like those campus groups, we ended up hitting 42,069 to the dollar at one point. Nice. But anyway, yeah, there are religious groups who are trying to basically prey on college age individuals and get their claws in them at that particular age and get them involved in campus Christian activities and stuff. And so having the Secular Student Alliance is really important and impactful to combat that presence on campus, to make sure that there is representation for science and reason. And there is an alarming problem of Gen Zers who are shockingly Republican, shockingly conservative. So yeah, Secular Student Alliance is a really important mission, and I'm super happy that we support them every year. And I'm also really glad that the fundraiser is over. Although, what you won when you all got to the $50,000 goal, y'all, if y'all watch the line, you probably really like Forrest and you probably really like Erica. There are kind of representing the hard sciences. They're very deep on their research and everything, and they tend to do a really long stream whenever they do a Skep Talk together. So instead of doing an 8-hour Skep Talk this month, we have decided to plan basically like an all-day Saturday show with Forrest and Erica sometime in the future. I think it's in the next couple weeks. So yeah, that's the reward. Thank you guys for getting us to that. I don't know what all day means when we're talking about having like an all day Forrest and Erica stream. I'm imagining it's going to be like a minimum planned 10 hours, right? Like if they will casually just do 8 hours on a Skep Talk, I feel like we need to give more than just the 8-hour Skep Talk, right? So if it's going to be like 10, 12 hours, I think that Arden and I are probably going to split the production. Like she might do half of it, I might do half of it. We will see. I don't know how we're going to split the revenue on that, but whatever. Cats like boxes, except my cat. He hates boxes. Bean hates boxes? Aw. That's fun. That's fun. They're so individual. That's why I'm a little bit worried about getting a cat, like a new cat, because I don't know. We were able to pick this one out of like a group of cats who were already like a year or two old. So we kind of knew what his deal was. And then the other cats that we had most recently got, we got them when they were literally eyes shut kittens. It was like the mama was abandoned or something. I don't know, whatever. Like the kittens were abandoned. Yeah, so you were able to kind of influence the personality of what that cat is going to become when you get a brand new one. But of course, I don't. That's like a thing that you can't plan for. It's not ethical to take cats away that young. It has to happen by like happenstance with an abandoned kitten or something. So yeah, there's no shaping their personalities. Oh my god, dude, are you good? Oh my god, he wants attention so bad. I love both Forrest and Erica's channels. I'll put on one of Erica's videos just to listen to her talk. That's how apparently how it works. That's how these 8-hour streams happen, is because you ask either one of them a question, and particularly Erica. I've noticed like during super chats, Erica will sometimes go off for like 3 consecutive minutes answering a super chat, and we're like, it's super chats, you know, like let's keep things salubrious. But I love that about her, that she is so passionate and she goes in depth and she has all the knowledge to go that far with it. And she's an excellent science communicator. So on the one hand, sometimes it's like, all right, you know, come on, let's go. And other times, you know, you just have to appreciate that level of, you know, dedication to her field. It's awesome. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Naomi. The number of evangelicals present on college campuses, it's annoying. They like you know, utilize the free speech zones to peddle their weird ideologies, and yeah. So anyway, I fell asleep during both of the 8-hour Skep Talks. Yeah. Well, you know, if a if a Skep Talk goes for 8 hours, they start at 6 p.m. Central Time, which means it's then 2 a.m. Central Time when they finish. So I am not surprised that y'all fall asleep. And maybe it's nice and soothing to have people who are experts in their field kind of, you know, just talking extemporaneously ad nauseum. Oh my gosh. Minute Right says for Erica, a 45-minute video might as well be considered a short. Oh god, that's funny. Ooh, by the way, if you have not yet hit the like button, I'd appreciate it if you did. I am going to put a poll in the chat just to remind everybody, like as soon as people come in, they'll see the thing that says, hey, could you please hit the like button? I would love it if my just hanging out streams, which is what this is, could be, you know, like getting regularly at least 100 viewers, you know? Right now we're at 61, which is kind of a lot. So maybe this was, maybe I'm getting a little bit of the benefit finally from being on the line. Oh my goodness. I have to actually check my phone when I get text messages now that I have a job. Okay, yeah. See, that was a work-related thing that I needed to respond to. Great. um, Guzman Jones says, I may very well be able to escape Oklahoma soon. I think the differences are irreconcilable at this point. How has your, I think, homestead going? How much is land up near your area? I've been looking at a land watch, but some things are intimidating and others are like reading wizard spells. Um, so right now we're just renting. So it cost a huge amount of money for us to get up here. So we were not in a position to buy, and I would not buy land that I had not stepped foot on. So we were like, let's rent somewhere. And now that I've got this new job, I'm going to be in a position where I can start kind of trying to make more money out of the little extra money that I have every month. So I know that land is expensive here. I mean, not that it's uniquely expensive here, but rather that like the market is just so houses and land are pretty expensive right now. I think that there's an expectation that there's going to be a kind of like bubble burst at some point, which I would like, I'd like to see. But lots of people are moving here, so it's, housing needs to continue being developed, and house prices. It depends on where you go too, like where in the Pacific Northwest. How close do you want to be to the city? That kind of shit. But yeah, it's not cheap to purchase. So I'm kind of just hoping that there's some kind of bubble pop soon. Anyway, will you hit the like button, please? Here's add a third option. There we go. Now you've got options. I will allow you to be bratty if you want to hit the no button and still hit the like button afterwards. Oh, wow. Marceline says, I have every name set to a different noise so I know if it's important right away on my text messages. That's fine. I can't tolerate noise from my phone, so it only vibrates. That's it. I get phone calls. Phone calls have a ringtone, but for all of my notifs, and I have most of my notifs off. Most of them are like, meh, 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 meh. But yeah, okay, give me my chat back. Hello, chat back. There we go. The market in Oregon is saturated by California money. Oh, good point. Yeah. The problem is when the bubble pops, Lux, it's probably going to be an epic crash, not unlike the Great Depression. Your money may or may not be worthless. Yeah, that's something that I've been worried about too. Is like if I'm about to start trying to save money, but what happens if the money like stops being worth anything? Yeah, land in South Oregon can be pretty cheap for a reason though. Yeah, you're further away from everything and you're in more danger of like fire. If my phone makes a noise, I will shoot it with a gun. Yeah, I don't want like phone calls again. It if I really need to like get on my shit anyway. Hourly wage bosses get ignored by me if they text me off the clock, TBH. Yeah, I understand that. I completely, I would agree with that. Like if I was an hourly like employee, I view my role with the line as being like flexible enough that like I'm, especially if it's for coordinating work later today. Like, oh, hey, we're going to have so-and-so instead of so-and-so tonight. This is the time that they plan to show up. Okay, cool. Like that's information I need to have about like coordinating my schedule later and knowing when people are going to show up and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I definitely, the flexibility of the role can be kind of obnoxious, but I also am going to be getting paid super well. So I was falling asleep to Takis. Sorry. No, listen. Okay. So I don't want to come across like I'm complaining. Oh, I need to remember to download that actually. It is so interesting how many of our calls on the Transatlantic Call-In Show are like, I need advice, or I would like to feel better about the world right now. Like, like I actually think that the majority of our audience on Takis is trans people rather than like a show, with trans people on it for a cis audience. It seems like we make Takis primarily for a trans audience, which is not exactly what we want to be doing with it. Like, obviously, I'm not going to downplay the significance of having a network of trans people. Like, the fact that our company exists with such a high proportion of trans individuals in the company in the first place, and then the fact that, like, there aren't very many spaces for trans people to be represented, be heard specifically as well. Like, the fact that you can just call in and get our takes on things and get our advice on things. But we as a network, I view our mission as being oriented around de-radicalization. Like, I do think that, especially now, that is what we are trying to do. That's why we do the new Jimmy Snow channel thing on the shorts page with the vertical. We are trying to de-radicalize people. So I guess in that way it can be a little bit frustrating that I feel like our impact is less with Takis in that regard. Like, we still have an impact. It's just that we're having a different impact than perhaps I would find to be ideal, which is why I would really love to do a show with either Forrest or Javon, because I know that they get lots of trans-related calls. So if we were to open up, and I'm not saying invite them onto Takis, I want to be completely clear, we do not bring cisgender hosts on Takis. Doesn't happen. But if I were to do like a Cause I Wanna or something with one of them, because they actually get access to an audience of people who don't already agree, right? Like, where me on Takis with my seemingly, every time we poll it in the chat, people say it's like majority trans audience every time we ask this question in the chat or on a yeah, mostly in the chat polls, I guess, because our broader channel polls get all kinds of different crazy results. But yeah, so I just find it I don't know, it's just interesting. It's an interesting dynamic, and I find that it bums me out sometimes, especially because, like, it's okay. So I considered at one point doing webcamming, like sexy webcamming, right? I actually got, I think, completely set up to do it like 10 years ago, and I ended up not doing it. And part of the reason why I ended up not doing it is because when I was learning from sex workers what that job is actually like, when you're a cam worker, you're kind of like a therapist mostly. You're mostly like talking to lonely people who are seeking emotional companionship more than they're really seeking like to get off, which is weird. And so I was like, oh, this job, even just as a hobby, would require a lot of emotional labor that I don't really have the space for. And it has been interesting finding that it seems like more and more as time goes on, that is the role that I have on Takis, is basically like, let me whip out my therapy skills, right? Like, let me try to help this person feel better or validate their feelings or give them useful advice on how to navigate like a really tricky situation. And like, it can be draining in a very different way than the spicy calls. Like, the spicy calls are almost more like invigorating, whereas I find the emotional energy that goes into the advice calls to be like, it's just kind of exhausting. The advice calls do help with certain things by showing the human impact of transphobia, whereas spicy calls may just push people deeper into their ideological holes and not show them the actual damage. Oh, okay, so Quantum, you're suggesting that there may be value in... Whoop. Oh, shit. Hold on. Basically, that there might be value in humanizing the trans experience. So, like, when you're hearing people say, like, I've been cut off from my family and I'm worried about not being able to see my siblings anymore or something, like, the human impact. I don't know how much of a difference that well, okay. I think that you can poo-poo any method. So I'm just going to start off by saying that. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. You can say that's not effective to just about anything, right? How effective is it for us to say, to like let a rational argument stand to say this is how the treatment goes for trans kids? We have moved the needle on that. I've had one recently where he was like, I don't know about trans kids and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, here's the care. Here's how we do it step by step. Here's the efficacy rate. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I guess if it's like 99% effective, then my feelings are a little bit assuaged. So that does work sometimes. Like some people go with like ridicule. I was going for ridicule with Tomris this week. If you guys watched Tomris on Takis, girl, I straight up laughed in his face. Like if we had been in person, it would have been pretty aggressive the way that I laughed right in his face. I worry sometimes about putting people's raw emotional reactions or sorry, I don't know. Like I feel sometimes that speaking about our personal experiences, like when we're saying things about like the suicide rate, of like for example, somebody who's saying like I really wanted to just not exist anymore, I thought about suicide a lot, blah blah blah, and now I've transitioned and I feel a lot better. If you've seen kind of the way that conservatives have responded to that, there are at least some, if not like a big portion of conservative thinking people who will laugh at that and who will, just be like, oh, well, you're a weakling, like whatever, you snowflake, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe even they'll suggest that the person should have taken their own life instead of transition. So I think that the emotional thing only really works for people you personally know. That's my opinion. I would be interested to see if there's any research or anything on this. But, in the way that, like, who was it? Was it McCain, whose daughter was a lesbian, and that's why he came around on gay marriage? Who was it? Or was it Cheney? I don't remember. But there was some conservative who, and this happened multiple times where people's minds are changed. And I've heard that also from families of trans people, right? You have like a Texas family who's Christian, they go to church, they're very traditional, they believe in male and female gender roles, and then they have a trans kid and they have to really seriously work through it. It was Cheney. Okay. They have to really seriously work through it and change as people in order to love their child, right? So I kind of don't know. And also, like, to be completely clear, for money making reasons, the clips where we do advice don't usually get uploaded. So any positive benefit for cis people hearing trans people's painful stories is going to be limited to the time that we are live because those calls just don't click. I mean, you have to consider that we're posting the clips on one channel that is mostly about atheism and also sometimes about trans stuff and women's issues. So, yeah, there's just I have a lot of thoughts about how we can best approach these issues, and I think the answer is just that there's no one right way. You can't like spend too much time quibbling with yourself over like, how effective am I being? Is there something else I should be doing? Because everyone needs something different in their process. Maybe I didn't convince someone who called in with facts and logic, but maybe that will open them up to having a personal experience where they know a trans person, or maybe something, I don't know. Maybe you could post the advice stuff on your own channel. Yeah. So I did think about it. I don't think that those would do well either. Like, I don't think that would do well either. I've been trying to figure out what to do, and I think that what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with a couple of spicy calls from the last month or two, and I will put my commentary, like I'll comment on it from the present day of like reflecting on this conversation, da-da-da. I want to try with a couple spicy calls. I just don't think that the advice stuff is ever going to perform well enough to be worth it, because if you keep posting videos that don't perform well, your whole channel stops performing well. And like there's less and less chance for those individual videos to pop off. So from a money-making standpoint, like it's just not worth it to do the advice calls. And also, like, I don't get paid enough to do them, really. Like, I feel like I'm not making therapist level money when I'm taking those calls, YouTube is evil. Well, I mean, it's not even just like YouTube and the money making process is evil. It's also the fact that like most people don't want to hear it. So, just from a standpoint of like getting a message out, okay, so like when I say marketing, we understand that marketing can include like issues that are not regarding profit, right? Like environmentalism is a series of marketing campaigns, right? Where how many of you cut apart the rings when you get like a 6-pack of soda? How many of you take scissors and cut apart every single little ring and even the little tiny ones because of the marketing around environmentalism and the whole save the turtles thing, right? Like how many of you, especially millennials, still to this day do that? So everything is a bit of marketing, right? So what am I trying to do with my activism in terms of marketing it to a broader audience to get my message out? And those two things kind of go hand in hand on YouTube, like the message being profitable and the message reaching more people. They work together in a relationship. So it is a consideration you have to make of like, who cares about this conversation? Who cares about what I have to say? Who's going to listen to that? Who's going to share that message? Am I imparting a high degree of value to a person's life, much less a high degree of value financially? Hell yeah, Shakespeare. Providing environments to heal is so important. True, yeah. I've had partners use me as an unpaid therapist, and I'm just like, I'm gonna start charging $100 an hour and not let them touch me. True, yeah. Stripper rules. No, you can't touch me. Oh my god, Mr. Baby, are you a baby boy? He is a baby boy. That style of packaging is less popular than it used to be. I do still see it. Like I recently purchased some tonic water. And I bought some cans instead of the bottles for some reason. Maybe that's just what they had. And it had the little 6-pack ring thing. I pre-cut them on the store shelves as a courtesy to other shoppers. True. That's funny. Imagine picking up what you think is like one Gatorade, and then you go and scan it, and it scans as a 6-pack. You're paying 6 times the amount. That's pretty crazy. Mr. Boy. He's such a good boy. Yeah. Like sounding off in the chat for everybody who cuts apart the 6-pack rings. In Canada, they're mostly made of cardboard now. Cool. Yeah, that's good. They'll just kind of disintegrate on their own. I missed the last Takis, so I didn't hear Tomris call. Just wanted to take a temperature with a caller I know sucks. Minute Rice, did you watch Chewed Gum last week? Because we also had a Tomris call on Chewed Gum last week, and it was fucking horrible. I yelled at Tomris twice last week. Once from my producer position on Chewed Gum, because like we asked him like, you know, if he, because we're talking about abortion, it's like, do you believe that a 10-year-old who's been SA'd should be forced to give birth? And he said yes. And then the conversation kind of kept going a little bit, and they returned to like a level of politeness with each other. And I was like, listen, Josie is too nice to say this, but that was disgusting for you to say, and it's not fucking cool. Like I was really like, that's really deeply uncool. And then I also yelled at him on Thursday because I was like, I'm ready for this guy to be a piece of shit. So I did yell at him. Different barcodes. Well, Sapphic Hazard, in my experience, when I buy a 6-pack of Gatorade or a 12-pack of Gatorade that comes in the plastic rings, the thing that you scan is on the bottle. Like you scan the bottle. I think it's because there's like, yeah, I think they have a different SKU than the ones that are actually sold individually. So that's kind of the joke that I was making, is like, you go to scan what you think is the one bottle, but because it came from the 6-pack and the barcode is the same, like, because there's not like an extra, I guess maybe sometimes there might be like an extra little piece of cardboard attached that might have like the 6-pack SKU on it, but you were so mad at the end of that call. Truly, I was like, no. And I think I explained why. Like, I don't really handle straight people bringing up AIDS very well. I think even most gay people don't fucking understand. I think even like, I evangelize this periodically because I think it's important. I think even most young queer people don't fucking get it with how bad HIV/AIDS was. I went to an art exhibit at one time, which I think it was like a traveling art exhibit. So I don't think the pieces are together anymore, or like I don't know where they are now, but it's horrific. It is truly unimaginably horrific. And people do not take it very seriously. And so when straight people bring up HIV/AIDS as like a, let me be homophobic about this, I'm like, I will lose it. Don't handle that very well. Yes, exactly. Yeah, the 6-packers have have a different SKU, which is why they also specifically say not for individual sale on them. Yeah. The candy art piece. Oh God, yeah, yeah. The candy art piece. I saw the one that was like the saddest was a man who had HIV would like once a year he would bring in a penny with that year printed on it. And they were like lined up on a little, it was just a little piece of shelf in the exhibit, and it was like he would bring in 1 penny each year, and then there were only like 30 pennies because he died. Like, dude, there is a heaviness to the HIV/AIDS epidemic that, like, legitimately, you are a different person after learning how fucked up it is. Like, especially if you're queer. I think that was kind of the moment that really hit me, that like my experience as a queer person is connected to something. Like, and of course, like, as a white person, I don't really necessarily feel like a strong sense of cultural identity. So, um, yeah, there's like a sense of cultural identity with being queer that, yeah, just didn't land until then. And like the knowledge that that I am lumped in with that group of people, that I will be treated that same way. It's fucked up. Anyway, I worked at an HIV community center. I was a professional advocate. AIDS was devastating. Was devastating, and the trauma still lives on from it. Truly, bro, it's fucked up. Also, I just want to be clear. Anytime I say like bro, dude, or girl, it has nothing to do with you. Like, I'm speaking that to the universe. I don't know most of your pronouns, so I'm just want to be clear. I'm just speaking that to the universe. It's just an emphatic. Um, Honestly, the number of people who show up on the line with opinions and zero experience or research into what they have opinions on is insane. Well, that's like normal though. And I mean, okay, I want to contextualize that for you real quick. Not you specifically, Drea, but just generally. Like, when people come up and they have no knowledge or expertise on something and they want to have a strong opinion about it, obviously we think now like, well, there's a fancy computer in your pocket all day long and you can look up anything at any time, right? But like, that's pretty new for human evolution and society and stuff. So we, you know, before, when you would just not know things, you would just not know things, right? Now we have the option of looking it up, but that is also like a skill that people haven't necessarily developed. I research all the time, like, and not like, you know, clinical research or what the fuck ever. Like, I spend a good amount of time going into different fields of information because I'm curious about something, or like I'm trying to find the best version of a product or something. So I'm accustomed to doing a lot of research, and I know basic things like, okay, if it has a 5-star review but only 5 reviews, that's a lot less weighty than something having a 4-star review and having 30,000 reviews. little things like that. So I do a lot of things of that sort, and I think that that is a skill that I developed, and that most people don't necessarily just have it. So when people have an opinion, for all of human history, it has mostly been informed by our personal experiences and not by like a robust body of evidence. That's a pretty new thing to be mainstreamed. Like, obviously, the scientific method has existed forever, and, scientific minded people are going to do that whole. I mean, even then, sometimes there are biases that prevent people from prioritizing the evidence over all other forms of experience. But it's, I think, a rare human quality to truly like value the evidence, even if it is contrary to our personal experience. Like, my personal experience is that I have been pretty safe my whole life. I have not, there's a lot of bad things that happen to people that I've just been lucky that haven't happened to me, right? That doesn't mean that I'm gonna pretend like we live in a safe world, because I care about the experiences of other people, even if I have never even come close to the same experience. I believe them when they say that it happened. And the statistics, like, trans people are not safe as a whole. Like, female bodied people are not safe as a whole. And I have been very lucky as a person with those statuses who has not experienced sexual violence, and I have not experienced kidnapping or whatever. Like, there's all kinds of fucked up things, and I'm fortunate. That doesn't mean that that's like the way to define the human experience. But a lot of other people do not have the physical capacity, I think, to go beyond their immediate experience, which is why we live in a country where there's a bunch of people who, like, I mean, I don't know. I kind of, people do imagine a lot of problems, though, don't they? Yeah, I don't, fucking Reagan. I just never, I never have anything good to say about Reagan. Fucking worst. Not the worst president, but like the worst for that specific thing. The worst uh perpetrator of a genocide against gay people. Oh my gosh, Nuvenal says straight people bringing up HIV as an own is like a Nazi saying Jews are predisposed to malnutrition and losing their shoes. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically. Yeah, that thing that we inflicted on you. Sapphic says, I think that people have the, which, hi, by the way, hi. I think they have the capacity, but critical thinking does not come naturally to people. It has to be, well, first of all, it has to be taught and then exercised and fostered. Yeah, absolutely. Shakespeare says, working at the HIV center, some days I just couldn't handle another story from the 70s through 90s. Lazarus stories of the mid 90s, the horrendous side effects of all the experimental drugs prior to 94 that physically deformed people, even. It is so much. Um, but important to remember, yes, undetectable equals untransmittable. For when you are being given drugs that suppress HIV in your body, if you cannot detect it in a blood test, then you do not have enough of it in your blood to transmit it to someone. It's not possible to transmit if there's a 0% on your blood test. If you stop taking the medicine that is suppressing it, then it can be detectable and then transmittable again. But the treatments that we use are very, very, very effective. This has been proven since 2014. Our community has known this for over a decade. If your viral load of HIV is maintained at undetectable levels, you cannot pass it through sexual contact. Absolutely. I was trying to point out to him that more, like, the HIV is more prevalent among straight people now. Oh my god, hold on. I'm gonna call Jimmy because he's blowing up my phone. Ah! Okay, I'll be right back. Give me a second. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Jimmy once called a host while they were literally hosting a show. Jimmy called Forrest while Forrest was hosting like a week ago. I was like, what? He was texting me a bunch, like asking me to do something today. And I'm like, I don't have time to do that today. I have other things to do. Yeah. Trying to figure out who's going to be on Calling It Now today. Ooh, this is a really hot tip. Quantum Chaos has probably now stepped away, but they are speaking to us from the kitchen where they're doing dishes now, saying even if you don't have someone to share the stream with, if you go to click the share button and then you copy the link, like you press the copy link button, that also counts as a share because obviously they cannot track if you then actually paste the link somewhere. So there are all kinds of little tricks like that on how to, how to stimulate the algorithm. Basically, anytime you touch the screen during a live stream, it's good. So if you hit the like button, if you go to click the share button, if you touch the chat to interact with the chat, if you put the little hearts on there, whatever, like all of those things are free, easy ways to help the show. I do still take donations at luxander.net/donate, but plenty of free ways to support the show. Oh, speaking of crowd support, I need to check now. Viren, I know, has a couple of times donated to contribute to me getting lavalier microphones. And someone, and I don't know who it was because I haven't checked. I can check now. Someone fulfilled the rest of this for me to get these lavalier mics because y'all were, my cat was like making noise and I was like, he needs his own little microphone. So someone went ahead and did it. And I really appreciate it because this now frees me up to do basically anything that could require being away from my desk and have like a high quality microphone. Check this out. Check these little puff balls. These are like tribble balls or something. Like, what is going on? Look at these puff balls. It's a pop filter thing. So you pull out the lavalier mic, you stick this thing on there, and then it's like a little pop filter. It's cute. I need to figure out how to make it work with my computer. I got it to work with my phone, so there's that. But I gotta get it working with my computer, and then I need to get him used to wearing a collar or something so that I can attach the thing, and then he'll just have a microphone when I'm streaming or something. Who was it who sent this to me? I don't know where to go to check. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Okay. Why is it not giving? It showed me the thing right here. Okay, Viren participated in contributing to that. Andy's Mints contributed to that. Who else? Others and domestic. Okay, so Viren donated twice, Andy's once, and then others and domestic is what it says on here. I don't know what that means, but I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That is going to free me up to do, yeah, and it's got a little wireless thing, and it can connect to, this thing can connect to a camera or my phone or my computer. I think at least, like, I should be able to use the USB-C adapter to put this on my computer. That's the goal. The goal is to, I guess, like, have this in my computer while the lav is on his collar so that when he makes noise, you can hear him. So yeah, I'm gonna get that working soon. Thank you so much to everybody who made that happen. I'm very excited to have the opportunity to get mobile and use a lavalier mic and shit. I think the original intention for that was when I had my One Oasis Left channel, which I'm going to retire basically. I'm gonna turn the One Oasis Left channel into the Musing Moss channel, and I don't know, like, I don't know if I'm gonna post videos of outdoorsy stuff or homesteady stuff for a while at least. We'll see if I want to resurrect that later. I love all the energy in the YouTube chat, all the waving. I appreciate all of you in the YouTube chat. I look at both chats pretty much equally, but we do have someone who's just joined the website chat. This over here is not Twitch. This is my website, alexander.net/live. And Darius Rosethorn, you do have this working now. Congratulations. Do they propagate like shribbles? I don't know. Are these actually called dead cats? This is called a dead cat, the little puffball thing. May we hear the words of the actual world leader, the boy. I will get it set up soon. I just didn't make the time for it this week. Excuse me. I love the outdoorsy videos and convos. I was going to do something very specific with that, and I just decided not to do that specific thing. And partially it's because, like, girl, it's going to be at least 5 years before I own any land. And I'm also really weird about, like, revealing my location. So even if I were to film at, like, the community garden that I've been volunteering kind of at this year, even if I were to do that content, I have to do it in a very specific way that has me, like, always a little bit paranoid that I'm going to accidentally reveal something about my location. And I get really freaked out by that. Excuse me. Ooh, drink more water. I've got tea and water today. I think I might do kombucha as well. Julius asked, what's your IRL job? I mean, this kind of is my IRL job. Like, okay, so here's my... I stream here. I make recorded content videos, edit them, upload them, talking about social issues most of the time, sometimes educational content. I am a contributing host on The Line, at Q&A Line here on YouTube. I'm also a producer for The Line. So I kind of have a fun thought. What kind of tea? This is the one that I love, my classic, my black tea with bergamot and rose petals. Wonderful. It's like my favorite. What was I in the middle of saying? Okay, so I have kind of a spiritual question to ask you. Not really a spiritual question, but like, so my job at The Line has been to produce recently. That's what they recently brought me on to producer, which means like I have a work computer where I host the stream, and anytime something changes, like when a new name pops up on the lower third, or if someone's audio is screwed up, I am in charge of technically making the stream happen, right? But something that I have not talked about with anyone yet, I'm just like, I'm thinking about it in my own mind. I view the role as not being limited to the technical production of the show. I also feel like, sorry, I also feel like I should be telling the hosts when a call is getting too long. Like, hey guys, this call is getting too long. It's not going to be a good clip if we let this get much longer, so let's wrap it up. Or if the hosts haven't done a call to action, or if they haven't talked about the schedule for the upcoming week, I feel like it's my job to make sure that those things happen. So I think basically what I have discovered is that I view my role as not only a producer, but also kind of like a director, where I want to make sure the show goes well in a way where, like, I think some producers will basically just let the hosts handle everything. Like the hosts just do everything. They're in charge. They're dictating the flow of the show. And I don't think that that is, I think that's insufficient. But that might be because the more money the channel makes, the more money I make. So I actually do have a personal stake in making the stream successful. Like, I make a certain amount of money from that show specifically. So the better that show does specifically, the better. But also, if that show does well and the clips from the show do well, that means the whole channel is making more money. We're getting signups to Patreon, etc. And then everybody makes more money because we have a socialist model of distributing the wealth. So, like, however many times you appear on the show or however many times I produce, like, there's a point system, and the money from Patreon and stuff gets disseminated on a point system like that based on how much work you do in a month. So there is a lot of incentive there. So I just kind of thought that that was an interesting, like, distinction, or just, yeah, viewing the role as, like, I don't just want to be here to physically make sure the stream happens. I also want to optimize it in a way that benefits everyone. Which I guess also kind of means, like, it's a way for me to be, like, more in charge, I guess, a little bit. Oh my god, did the fucking audio do it again? Okay, hold on. The audio is really quiet again. Okay. It wasn't as low as it has been before, but I hope that that's better now. My computer just randomly decides, oh, I'm going to turn the device volume down. And I'm like, okay, girl, well, nobody asked you to do that. So, but now it's as loud as I can make it. So hopefully that's better. I'm sorry that I spent an hour with. Yeah, no, you're not being rude, Naomi. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me know. It wasn't as notable as it is other times, which is why you're the first person who said something. But usually everybody tells me, like, within the first 10 minutes if it's too quiet. I love that bergamot. It's just the smells. Never tried it as a tea. So this is it has bergamot oil. So it's like in the way that, like, citrus has oil in the skin. So it's, yeah, it's not like dried bergamot or anything. It's bergamot oil on black tea with the rose petals. Stage management during a live show can make or break the flow. Taking on that role as a producer can help offload the need for the members of the show from needing to keep track of that and focus on the calls. Yeah, I do. I feel like I have a lot of downtime. And Earl Grey. Yeah, I guess it is basically Earl Grey. Do you like boba tea? Of course. I mean, it depends on the flavor, but yeah, I like boba. It's good. Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about the protests yesterday, have we? Do we know how many people took part in the protests yesterday? No, I don't know the whole total number, and of course it's kind of hard to tell because we don't really want people to sign up. Jasmine tea, oh my god. I thought that I had enough jasmine tea left to make, like, 1 cup of coffee, or so 1 cup of tea, but I don't have enough to even make 1 cup. I'm so sad. I'm almost out of my fancy jasmine tea that I got from KCRF last year. Did the communication settings in Windows get checked? I don't know what that is. I saw it was over 7 million. Yeah. How many protesters on October 17? Was that day? What day is it? 18. On October 18. I wanted to join the protests, but accidentally scheduled a parent hangout at the same time. Yeah, I don't do protests. I'm like, my health is really difficult to manage, and the last fucking thing I need is to get arrested and have a health spike or a health episode or something because I'm not being given water and shit. Like, I'm not willing to deal with that. So instead, I raised money for the Secular Student Alliance, and I carved pumpkins with my family. And then I hung out with my partner and watched Paranormal Activity. Tentatively over 7 million. Yeah, we're definitely seeing, like, millions. I don't know how many millions. Let's see. The No Kings organizers said that more than 2,500 individual demonstrations are planned nationwide. So I've seen lots of pictures of even red areas having a huge turnout. Oregon Capitol Chronicle says tens of thousands of Oregonians turned out on Saturday. So that's at least, tens of thousands of people in Oregon. Where? Yeah, I'm not seeing on the front page of Google like one singular number. The crowd pictures in Chicago were incredible. Yeah, it's been crazy. I went to a local protest, not the big Seattle one. Waved the Progress Pride flag. Yeah. Okay, Faulty. If I can remember, I might check you. I might hit you up about what communications. Yeah, I don't know. We'll deal with it later. I confess I am a monarchist, but being from UK, it's kind of part of our history and our national identity. Have you ever considered that a national identity is a bad thing to have? Especially in a country where that national identity, like to identify with the nation, is also inherently to identify with a colonial project that has destroyed the third world, actually, that created the idea of a third world and continues to reify that hierarchy by continual exploitation and suppression of those nations that have resources and very little power. Didn't expect to go on a monarchism rant today, but we're open to it. For some reason, I carved pumpkins with and my brain autocorrect or autofilled the word to face. I carved some pumpkins with my face. Yeah. I just really am into seasonality and having family time. So over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll probably do a couple more times of sitting down and doing some kind of Halloween activity or watch scary movies or something. At first, my partner, I listed like several movies that we could watch while we were carving pumpkins, and my partner was like, Paranormal Activity. And I was like, I love how you picked the movie that really requires like sitting and staring at it for a while. We're going to be carving pumpkins. So instead, we listened to music. And then later in the evening, we watched the movie. Naomi says, I think community building and teaching related skills is more effective than protest alone. Yeah, I really want to see people doing both. You know, if you're going to go to a protest, I also want to see you doing something else. Like, you can't just be present once or twice a year at a big public event. You got to start showing up for people. Minnesota really showed up, and I'm proud of it. While protests aren't super high on my priority for actions to take, it's very heartening to see so many take the time to show up. Truly, yeah. That's what the importance of protests is. Honestly, I feel like, honestly, as one of the primary targets of this administration, like as a trans person, I mean, okay, so like as an probably autistic person who has a uterus and is trans, I am a target of this wave of conservatism. So I kind of feel like protests are kind of for me, not for me to show up to, but for me to, because like what you're doing when you show up is you're saying like, we don't like this, we don't agree with this, and we're going to stand with the people who are being harmed. And obviously like that's trans people, that's autistic people, that's brown people, like all these different groups. So it's like when people show up, it makes me feel better. Like that's what it feels like it's for. I don't want to show up to a protest because I feel like I already have made myself clear in every other way. Shakespeare says, I still do support the historic reign of the first and only Emperor of America, Joseph Norton. I've never heard of this. California during the Civil War just sort of did its own thing the whole time. Okay. I'll have to check that out, I suppose. Shakespeare says over 100,000 in Minneapolis itself at the protest, with plenty of smaller ones across the state. Yeah, that was the great thing too, is that there were so many small ones. You know, you don't even have to go all the way to the big city. There's ones in your small town too. The No Kings protests. YouTube chat is very active today. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. I appreciate it. Because you're an atheist too, what do you like about shows about paranormal stuff? So I don't really watch like shows about paranormal stuff. If you're like Paranormal Activity is a horror movie, and if I'm being completely real, I don't really like horror movies either. But I am watching some for the podcast I do with Gayfesh, and then my partner also likes horror movies, so I'm kind of trying to be more open to. And it's spooky season, so like yeah, let's watch some spooky movies. And I've already seen Paranormal Activity, so it didn't have any surprises for me. Yeah. So I guess why do I like horror movies? The thing that I'm finding interesting about horror movies is that there is a lot to think about in terms of like literary analysis. That's the kind of thing that I get up to these days, is I'm thinking what anxiety is being expressed in this film? You know, how is the pacing? Noticing things about like the times in the movie where I'm paying really close attention and I'm really at the edge of my seat versus like the scenes where it lets go of the tension and you can relax a little bit. So yeah, I find it interesting in a film analysis kind of way. I don't really enjoy the experience for the most part of watching horror movies. Yes, we doing a podcast. And now, guys, we have the dual feature, the tagging feature. So anytime an episode goes up of the podcast that I do with Gayfesh and Demon Mama, it should show up in the same way that one of my videos shows up for you. You'll just see like the Many Worlds Hypothesis thumbnail, and my name will be tagged on it. So hopefully more people will get to see those if you want to check out the podcast that we do. It's a lot of fun. I think we have a good synergy, the three of us. Trinket says, I'm starting to suspect that Jimmy does not hire allistic people. Hosting on the line is probably as good as an autism diagnosis. I feel like there have to be a couple people. I'm not going to start like, you know, picking apart my coworkers, but I do feel like there are some that are maybe more obvious than others. Since both okay, so on the Many Worlds Hypothesis videos, since both myself and Demon Mama are being tagged, it says Gayfesh and two others, but it will show up in your subscription feed the same way that one of my videos will, which I think that's so great. And so that's why I think what I'm gonna do from now on is on this main channel, I'll post videos of the calls that I take on the line and kind of my analysis of those calls, and political videos when stuff is important and it comes up and I need to talk about it. And then on Musing Moss, I'll upload whatever. And since it's a separate channel, but I can tag my primary channel, then cool, I'm getting all the benefits of uploading to a separate channel that is building its own identity, but also still having access to my original subscribers. Jesus Christ, what a great idea that they had. Also, if you go to your channels page and scroll all the way to the bottom. Okay, yeah, I haven't edited it yet since the new collaboration function popped up. So maybe I'll make a note to do that. I can bump the collaborations further up the page. Yeah. Oh boy. It's more than halfway through October. I'm already planning, I'm already starting to plan for the holidays. Oh, listen, we did it, boys. We fucking did it. Okay, are you ready? You ready for this fun news that I have for you? we successfully convinced one of our best friends to move up here from Kansas. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, yes. We were just kind of hoping to get, we were like, this is probably the friend who will visit us first before anyone else would visit us. And we fucking managed to get him to move up here. And I'm like, yes. So excited. Lux, are you going to a Halloween party? I'm probably going to basically throw our own Halloween party. I'm trying to convince, I'm going to try to convince everybody I live with to like dress up. Ideally on that Friday night, but like just dress up a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot. Just dress up a little bit. Let's have a spooky dinner or something. Maybe we'll do charcuterie that night. Just to have like finger foods and like watch some scary movies and hang out and do stuff. Like, that's my plan. I'm going to celebrate Samhain and I'm hoping that my family will help me celebrate it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like one down, many more to go. I'm sure. I'm also. I would really love it if Arden and Matt would move up here. I don't think that they've made a decision yet on what they're planning to do, and that scares me a little bit. I'm like, can you guys make a plan? Or like, if you're gonna stay in Texas, then like decide that you're gonna stay in Texas, and then I can just continue to have that anxiety instead of the like, oh my God, can you get out of there soon, please? Anxiety. But it's hard. It's moving across the fucking country sucks. It's difficult and expensive. God, it's expensive. My friend was like, my friend managed to get a relocation package from an employer. So he's going to move up here and then be reimbursed for moving up here. And I'm like, damn, that's money right there. That's money. Arden and Lux, both in Oregon, would make this state overpowered. Yeah, exactly. See? Do you think capitalism can be reformed? Capitalism specifically is a mode of economy where, by definition, by its very fundamental nature, money and power is siphoned away from the workers and hoarded and stolen effectively by the increasingly smaller and smaller and smaller upper class. So I think that just as it works on paper, I don't know if it's possible for that mode of operation to live at the same time as like a mode of operation that prioritizes human health and well-being. It seems as though capitalism positions itself in opposition to human health and well-being, and therefore I don't really know what reform would look like, because if you change that fundamental aspect of the system where, you know, basically like if you just change the mode of operation to we do things for the betterment of people and not we do things because they are profitable, like the simple fact of reorienting that goal is no longer capitalism. Like if you have a market system that no longer prioritizes profit over all other things, I don't think that that is capitalism anymore. And therefore, like, capitalism cannot be reformed by definition. It becomes something else the moment you effectively reform it. Does that make sense? Will you collab with other trans creators? I just never have any ideas for what to do for a collab. I did reach out to Riverboat Jack about inviting her on to be a guest host on The Line sometime. See if she wants to like guest host on a hostility or if we have an open spot on Takis next month or something. So yeah, I would, I guess. I just don't, I mean, I have before when other people are like, hey, I would like you to do a voiceover in my video. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll do that. I just never, I don't make video essays, so I don't really have an opportunity. I did one time, I made one video essay and I asked two people. I asked Surus and Gayfesh to contribute voiceover work. One of those people is trans, agender, non-binary, but yeah, I just never have any ideas for what to do for a collab. I know nothing about snakes. Would Arden and Matt's business be affected by Oregon's climate? I imagine that they would spend more money on, well, okay, I don't actually know how this works. Like, they live in Texas right now. When it's in the summertime and the snakes need to be warm, do they spend money on air conditioning to make their house cool enough for them to live in? And then also they're paying for the electricity for the snakes to be warm with their little hot lamps? Or are they saving money on electricity by letting the house be hot? I don't know, but I was gonna say, I don't even remember doing that voiceover. Yeah, no worries. I have forgotten work that I've done too, so it's not a big deal. It was my video essay about, like, I think you said it came across less like a video essay and more like just a formalized script of why I was no longer going to be making political content anymore. Um, but yeah, I quoted, I can't fucking even remember who I quoted about, it was something about quitting politics or something. I cannot remember who I asked you to quote though. But anyway, what was I saying? I was saying something. Oh yeah, so the thing about Arden and Matt's snakes, well, first of all, they probably would have to sell all of their snakes that they have right now. It would be really difficult for them to bring all of their animals 2,000 miles across the country. So in that regard, they maybe could afford to move up here by selling all of their plants, by selling all of their animals. But then they might have to kind of start over from scratch and build up a new inventory. And yeah, I was saying about the electricity, because it's cooler here for a greater portion of the year, they may end up spending more on electricity to warm the snakes. Snakes need direct sunlight as opposed to warmth. Okay, whatever. My point is that there's lamps and they're hot. And they are technically inefficient, electrically speaking, in that way. Hell yeah, Riverboat Jack. I've always thought she would make a good addition to the line, Artakis. Yeah, and she did respond. She said she's interested. Now we just need to schedule something to, get that ball rolling. I think she would do well with it. I'm excited to see how she does. It's a little weird bringing on yet another white trans woman. I guess right now we basically just have Arden. But yeah, because Josie is like white passing a bit, but she is definitely Hispanic. And yeah, we are aware that the network is kind of homogeneously white. Of course, we have Jovan and Durante, but and Josie. Cool. Yeah, but yeah, it's sometimes I wish that the pool of talent to choose from was more diverse in terms of having people on as a guest. A friend offered me a job in Europe the other week, but I'm committed to fighting for the trans community in the UK, so here I'll stay. Admirable. Admirable. And I guess if you're not directly affected by the transphobia, then it's not like harming you to stay and fight for people. So we need more people who are willing to put themselves out there like that, and I appreciate it. Salute. Yeah, Rosie says a reformed capitalism is called a social democracy, which is a kind of version of capitalism that also doesn't work. Ember says it's always nice to see new friends in different places. Yeah, something has happened this past couple of weeks where, yeah, a lot of people who see me on the line are now following over here, which is wonderful. We get lots of crossover that way. Yeah, listen, the line is trying, whereas other networks are actively going the other direction. It is seen and valued. Yeah, we try. I think that we've considered we may have actually reached out to Kat Black at one point. It's not her thing. She's not interested. Cool, not a big deal. Yeah. We're doing our best. we are trying. We are super diverse in other ways, even if we don't have like the same amount of racial diversity that we're hoping for. I haven't actually crunched the numbers. I've never considered crunching the numbers. I definitely do think like, oh wow, it's pretty significant that like 4 people who work at this company are trans. And especially for Arden to be in such a, like, she's a position where she helps make decisions about the company and stuff like that. I I like the idea that I'm also an influential member of the company. I don't know how much that actually is, but for, yeah, trans people to be part of the decision makings of our company, and for 4 out of the like 20 people who work there are trans, that's significant. Like, I haven't crunched the numbers of what's the percentage of people of color on our team, and like how does that compare to most companies. I don't know. Oh, wait. In a box. I guess I thought that you were like a. Are you an ally or are you trans? I get harassed on public transport all the time since this Supreme Court thing. I'm stronger than my detractors though, so they back down when I don't rise to it. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I thought you were not like not being targeted by those things. Um, Man, stay strong. Like, that's crazy. Mm. Every single day that I drink tea, I'm like, my life is better because I did this. Like, my life is better now because I took the opportunity to brew a cup of tea. I saw a post recently that said brewing, like having a cup of tea isn't even necessarily about drinking the tea, but it's rather about having company. Like, the tea keeps you company in a way. And I kind of get tea sounds nice. I bet it does, you Brit bonger. Yeah, you're good, Rosie. I understood what you meant. I agree. I prefer being in environments that are racially diverse, partially because that's how I grew up. I'm from Kansas City. We got a lot of black and brown people there. We got Puerto Ricans there. We have like Asian folks there. There's black people there. Um, I grew up in a much more racially diverse environment than I think a lot of white people in this country do. And it's real weird to me. I will say one thing that I do like about living in Oregon, even if there aren't very many black folks here, just in general, partially because this state was hella fucking racist and didn't allow black settlers here for a long time. And but there is a large number of there's a large immigrant community here, so it still feels like diverse because I think something like 25% of people in the Willamette Valley area are Spanish speaking, which is huge. It's a huge number of people. Later, Banana Brains, have fun at Riverboat Jack's stream. She's streaming early today. No worries. Even the act of brewing tea is part of the relaxation. True. Yes, it's a whole ritual. I mean, even for me, I do a pretty simple ritual, but there are complex rituals where you, for 20 minutes, are just doing the tea thing, and then you drink the tea at the end of the 20 minutes of build up. Mm. UK is going nuts, but one good news is that the UK Green Party has overtaken the UK Labour Party in polls. That's good. That's good, I think. I don't know a lot about you guys, but I do know that Labour is doing what the Democrats are doing here, which is like, let's be right wing now. Like, cool. Love that. So happy. Hmm. Banana's a mod for RBJ. Oh, okay, yeah. You gotta leave early. You gotta go be in your place. You gotta go do things. I know someone earlier said, like, oh, being hired by Jimmy must mean that you're autistic, which is crazy because Jimmy himself is not autistic. Or no, it's the opposite way around. He is autistic, but he doesn't have ADHD. Yeah, that's it. He's autistic but doesn't have ADHD. Um, which makes it real weird. Like, why do I have to keep telling you that I stream on Sundays? Why am I having to tell you this more than once? I am not available on Sundays before the time that I'm scheduled, which is 4:30. I have to. And we might leave here. We might cut this off at the 3 hour mark, so in an hour and a half from now, because I'm trying to get a rank up in World of Warcraft PvP, and I only have today and tomorrow to get to the goal that I was trying to get to, and I will not, the goal that I'm trying to get to, basically, I will not be able to even keep the progress that I've made so far if I don't reach the actual threshold that I'm trying to reach. And that's not even the maximum threshold. Like, I have to get to 142,000 out of a possible 500,000 in order to keep any of the between 0 and 141,999. It's fucking obnoxious. I didn't know that was legal. Oh no, what are we talking about? What did I say? Jazz Dog! Hello! Did they start the High Warlord shit again? I play Classic, so I don't really... I don't know. I'm just doing PvP in Classic. Shakespeare says, I've been clean from WoW for over 11 years. That shit was straight up digital heroin. Getting clean from hard drugs was easier, I swear. Oh gosh, yeah. When my partner and I first started dating... what is going on here? When my partner and I first started dating, we would do... He provided me with my secondary monitor, so I would be on this screen doing World of Warcraft, playing with him. And then on the other screen, we had full screen Skype FaceTiming. So that's like how we spent time together when we were long distance at the beginning of our relationship. So we've quit multiple times, and we decided, I think it was, we both got COVID last year, and we decided to pick up WoW again just to dick around with Classic while we were sick, and then we just continued to play together. Yeah, you got a new song? Jazz Dog's got a new song about no kings. Please. Later, Faulty. Trinket says, look, I'm just saying I was watching a certain host with their non-adherence to rules, their use of costumes during streams, and their base obsessive hoarding of degrees. No holistic explanation. Fair enough. Okay, we've got a Jazz Dog. We've got new Jazz Dog. New Jazz Dog just dropped. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure I got the volume shit figured out here. New Jazz Dog.
Shouting their voice, freedom was never a choice. He's failed to try and divide. No kings is what we provide. None of us will ever concede our rights to basic human needs. That's what I'm talking about. No kings. Any questions? And by the way, Donald Trump, if you're listening, you can kiss my ass. That's right, kiss my ass. Another day, another dollar bill to pay. Donald Trump looking worse every day. Which one will it come across first? Good economy or Donald Trump's hearse? For our soldiers standing at bay. Only king I need is MLK. They can look into start up some beef. Abolish ICE and fuck the police. What? Huh? Me? You want me to solo? The song's happening like as we speak. I gotta prepare. Okay, shit. I gotta prepare. Okay, 3, 2, fuck. Yesterday I had a great sight. Everybody fighting for their rights, getting sore, shouting their voice. Freedom was never a choice. Peace failed to try and divide. No kings is what we provide. None of us will ever concede our rights to basic human needs. Oh yeah, you already know it. And by know it, I mean filling in the empty space with my voice. That's how you write a song, goddammit.
Hell yeah.
Alright, back to the tunes. Another day, another dollar bill to pay. Donald Trump looking worse every day. Which one will they come across first? Good economy or Donald Trump's hearse? For our soldiers standing at bay. Only king I need is MLK. They can look into start up some beef. Abolish ICE and fuck the police.
Heard. The boy wants nothing more than to be on camera. We haven't reached the donation threshold yet, though. I think you did this bass on, like, you must have done it with your synth, right?
I don't even give a shit. I'm gonna include this in the song. I made this in one fucking day,
You
so you
listen
better
to bass
appreciate
players.
it.
That's nasty.
Go to my
That was somebody actually
Bandcamp, do all
playing.
that shit. Fuck Donald Trump, fuck ICE, fuck Republicans. Join your DSA.
This is easily the longest Jazz Dog song I have ever heard. That one was 3 minutes. Like, listen, there are ones that I play at the beginning of the stream that are like 3 minutes long. If you've ever been here before I've started stream, or like the stream has started but I'm not here yet, that's Jazz Dog. And Jazz Dog wishes that I would play more modern music that he's written more recently, and I will at some point. Okay, there we go. I can't play any instruments, but I sure as hell can write for them. Hell yeah, that's nice. Wasn't this played on a Riverboat stream? That wouldn't surprise me, although this video was only uploaded 29 minutes ago, so maybe y'all got to see a little sneak peek of it on Riverboat's stream. I'm usually a little late. Oh, okay, so you haven't heard the opening music. What is your opinion of VTubers? I don't really have a strong opinion on VTubers, if I'm being honest. I have a big boy song at 7 minutes right now. Ooh, nice. Jazz Dog's songs remind me of Sonic stages. This one reminds me of Stardust Speedway. Ooh, nice. Okay, I'm going to take a short break because the whole stream is going to be a little bit short today. I just need to go take a leak. So I'm not going to play music or anything right now. Or I guess, Jazz Dog, do you have another song that you would like me to play? Just for the 2 minutes that I go to the bathroom real quick. And y'all can enjoy that while I step away. You do a podcast with a PNG tuber. Yeah, I mean, I just don't have strong feelings about it. I'm like, oh yeah, my friend Gayfesh uses a PNG thing instead of being on camera. I don't have a strong opinion. I've seen trans VTubers. I'm sure that there are Nazi VTubers. I just don't care very much. Yeah, why do people have strong opinions on VTubers? Going up? It's elevator music? Okay, going up. Oh, I see it. Okay, I'm gonna play this Jazz Dog for you, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Thank you, Jazz Dog, for the $5 dono. Jazz Dog said, "Okay, gotta bounce though, but I feel bad for doing self promo then dipping." No, it's cool. I asked for you to give me a song to play. Ooh, hold on. I also need to do this. Double check that. Oh my gosh. I think it just started raining. I love living here so much. Thank you so much, Jazz Dog, for the $5. I will go ahead and that's $35 for the boy. I've been showing off the boy too much lately. I just don't have any. I just didn't put anything in the treasure chest today. I forgot about it. Oh, okay. Come back. I need my stream chat. There's got to be at least one trans Nazi VTuber, probably. Ooh, we've got peppermint black tea. Okay, speaking of peppermint, so I did recently get what's called a co-wash, which is like a conditioner that you use like a shampoo. But I haven't had a chance to really use it because I've been using Selsun Blue to try to address, like, I get really flaky in the front. It's a weird combo. I'm flaky in the front, but in the back I get pimples. And it's because of like fungus or like yeast or something. So I've been doing Selsun Blue. But this week I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and use the co-wash for the first time. And the co-wash has peppermint oil in it. And boy, when I tell you that leaves your scalp feeling some type of way, it's like menthol on your scalp. It's so weird, but it's kind of cool. It was a downpour last night in Seattle. Would have been more stoked if I didn't have to run a bunch of music gear to my car. Cozy drive home, though. Truly, yeah. Yeah, I woke up today and everything was, like, wet. Getting some rain. It's that time of... I love how it'll be, like, it'll have rained and then it gets sunny. Like, it kind of comes and goes. It's not like necessarily it's going to be raining all day. Because the weather, it's like... As far as I can tell... The weather seems to go like this. Like, if I'm looking at a map, like, hold on, let me see, actually, if I can show you, instead of just gesturing in the air. Cool. Let's go with this one. So from what I can tell, the weather up here is like... So if there's like a storm system in the ocean, it's kind of spiraling this way. It's going like this. So as far as I can tell, our weather comes down this way. In a way where, like, when I lived in Kansas, all of the weather patterns moved from west to east because the air would be coming down off the Rocky Mountains, and then, like, storm systems move move eastward across Kansas. In this situation, I'm pretty sure basically... consistently the weather basically travels down the like, I don't know what you call this whole area here, like from Eugene all the way up to like Olympia, like, because there's the Coastal Mountains and then there's the Cascade Mountains. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, if you don't like the weather here, wait 10 minutes and it'll be different, truly. Oh no. Ember says, I actually know a trans Nazi VTuber that I know of, at least. I won't promote her, but her name is Mary, and she's really mean about my hats. Girl, why? Just being mean about other people's fashion choices is certainly a decision. Stunning. Absolutely delicious. The weather here can go all over. Remember, the jet stream often bends over the Cascades. I don't know what that means in practice. but often we get marine weather coming off the coast. Evenings often comes off of the mountains. Do you mean off of the mountains on the east side? But then winter, it tends to be more north-south. Okay. Oh my gosh. Drink water, babes. Hail hydrate. First, they came for the hats. I didn't speak up. Then they came for the glasses. Oh no. Okay, can I just say, these are horrible. I decided to randomly buy some Liquid IV this week just because I was like, let me see. You know, it's not like the best version of this. There's a different brand that I would rather try, but I would just like went to the store and I was like, I'm going to grab whatever they have and try this. It tastes horrible. This is the lemon lime one. It tastes so bad, but I think that it is highly effective at doing the thing that it's trying to do, which is help you retain fluids. It's got like, because what I usually do is I just take a handful of salt and I just eat salt and drink water at the same time. But this also has like vitamins and stuff in it that help facilitate that process. And like potassium's also an electrolyte, I guess. So yeah, this can kind of support the absorption of the salt and everything. But man, it's gross. I get like, I take like half of this and I mix it in with my water. I froth it with my little frother stick. And then I basically just have to chug it. And it's awful. I have not yet found an electrolyte mix brand I like. True, yeah. I was gonna try Relight. I found it. I was doing some research on like which ones are the best, like which ones have the most salt content or whatever. Relight is the brand that I would like to try, but I just grabbed whatever was at the store. That Potts diet, I pound V8s. They've got like 980 milligrams of sodium. Yeah, I did that in the morning for a little bit. I just don't like it. I'm trying to find something that I like, right? And that I can stay consistent with. For a while, another thing that I was doing was getting, I was getting like a pouch of chicken broth. And that was nice. Take a bottle of water, add a little bit of sugar and salt, and boom, electrolytes. Well, sure, yeah, I mean, I do that. It's just like, I'm trying to figure out something that's maybe more effective. So yeah, I've tried chicken broth. Chicken broth is probably my favorite. Tomato juice I feel like is good because you're getting other vitamins and stuff in it. It's just like, I don't like it. So basically, whatever it is, whether it's a fucking Liquid IV or tomato juice or whatever, like, yeah, I just have to start treating it like it's medicine, basically. Just like, oh, okay, let me drink this whole thing in one breath, hopefully, and like pinch my nose even. Just get it down. Ugh. Stupid. The other new weather pattern in the Pacific Northwest is the heat dome, when the jet stream traps hot air in a bubble that rapidly heats up. Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that one. Did we get any of that this summer? Vegetable juice is better than tomato juice, IMO. It's a fucking V8 has other vegetables in it. It's like, I don't know. I guess I don't know what constitutes a vegetable juice. I found a giant container of chicken bouillon for $7. Hell yeah, dude. Hello, Nadia. I don't know what you said, but appreciate you being here. What's up? Eventually, I do start memorizing the names on my Patreon, the ones that I say out loud. I'm like, oh yeah, Nadia Yvette Chambers. I say your name once a month. V8 juice is just tomato focused. Yeah, they have like other stuff in there, don't they? We got one heat dome this year. In past years, we've had several. Yeah, I get the impression overall that this summer was less intense than it was expected to be. Kind of all over America. In what is the drink conversation about? The drink conversation is about having POTS and requiring a lot of salt in order to function as a human being. I was complaining about the fact that liquid IV electrolyte mixes taste gross. Now we're having a more broad discussion. But yeah, there's no good solution to the problem. But yeah, no. Even in Kansas, I saw people were saying that the summer started to feel more mild toward the end of summer in a way that it doesn't sometimes. You know, like especially the first weekend of the Kansas City Renaissance Festival. It's Labor Day weekend. My friends were like, "Oh, it was so nice first weekend. It was like in the 80s," and I'm like, "That's unfucking thinkable nowadays." Nowadays, the first weekend in September is typically in Kansas. It's gonna be in the 90s. So it was remarkably cool this year compared to the last several years where it's, yeah, in the 90s, basically for the first 6 weekends out of the total of 7. Like, crazy. This summer was very, very mild in the PNW compared to even last year. This summer was more like what we would see back in the 90s. Yeah. And it's not going to keep happening that way, probably. But we're very fortunate. You know, I moved up here and it was a wonderful, mild summer. I'm sure I'm going to be bummed out next summer when it's inevitably worse. Yeah, and here in Minnesota, last week, many of us were complaining that summer needs to go away already. 80-degree October in Minnesota, that is just whack, truly. Oh my god, meanwhile, I'm literally listening to the little pitter-patter of rain outside. It's the time of year where I can start opening my windows. Okay, the thing that Nadia said in German earlier was, "Hello from Berlin, comrades." I thought it was something like that. I don't know if I'm going to try to pronounce it, because I don't know what happens to an O when you put a umlaut over it in German. I don't know what that means. It was still quite hot in Northern California this summer, but California has triple-digit summers, so that is in keeping with normal. Yeah, I would love to visit California. We were just talking about it recently that, you know, we border California now, and we could go, like, you know, to north. We could go over to, like, Klamath or, you know, some of the state parks there. We could do the Redwood State Park. Yep, it would just be a short little jaunt down I-5. Rain is glorious. Got to keep our forests green. Hell yes. I hate rain. I just want sunny weather. You know, I think everybody's sort of influenced by where they come from. I'm from Kansas, where it's always hot. I mean, I guess it used to be less so when we were kids, but it's very sunny a lot of the time, and then we have periodically like tornadoes and severe thunderstorms. And like we do have overcast rainy days, right? But it's very, very, very sunny where I'm from. So I appreciate sunny days more now than when I was younger, but I do still, whenever I wake up and I'm like, it's a little bit rainy, I'm like, oh my god, I was born to be here. It really feels pleasurable in a way that is kind of hard to describe. Hi, Tanya. Tanya says, my husband went to school in Corvallis. Loved the weather there. Said it's perfect. You're lucky. I truly feel blessed to be here. As much as an atheist can feel blessed about anything, it's so beautiful here. And we've convinced like one of our best friends to move up here. It's gorge. Kansas was windy when I was there. Girl, no kidding. It is so fucking windy there. It's windier than I was expecting here, but even if it is pretty windy, there's lots of trees up here, so it kind of is mitigated in that way. But yeah, it is. It's windier here than I was expecting. Kansas sucks. I do not like wind. It is one of my least favorite weather situations. It used to snow in the valley.
Inabox has donated $20. Have a good remainder of your stream.
Thank you, Inabox. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Good luck out there fighting the good fight in the UK. Much respect and love for you. Appreciate your donations. That brings us up to $55 today. I know I've been showing you the boy. Is there something else? Do you guys want something else for the donation goal besides the boy? Because I've been showing off the boy a lot lately. Especially on the line. I've been showing off the boy a lot on the line. Windy, light rain while hiking in a forest is an amazing audio experience. I'm really excited. I'm so excited for it. I am going to... So I got my bike. I got my bike figured out and it's all ready, and I've started riding it. And so I'm really enthusiastic about getting my cardio up. I think if I can handle riding a bike around like a hilly location, then I'll probably have decent cardio to do something like going for a hike. And that's my goal right now, is like I'm trying to improve my cardio so that I can hike and then just like keep on improving cardio until I can more easily do strength training, because I need that foundation to support me in strength training. So I'm one step at a time, but I've been riding my bike. It's been a lot of fun. We did go to a park not too long ago. It was basically flat everywhere. It was not so much of a hike as it was just like a walk, but there's so many beautiful parks and you know, state parks and protected lands and beautiful things. I saw a great blue heron while I was at the park. So it's nice. It's really, 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 really pretty. Road bike, tell me more. Yeah, I mean, it's a giant brand. Basically, it's a 8-speed road bike. I like it. It's comfortable. I think I'm still figuring out things like where exactly I need the saddle adjusted and things of that nature, but I was able to ride really comfortably this week. And the helmet that I got is not giving me a headache or any harm. I haven't worn it for longer than like 30 minutes at a time, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm so fucking glad that my bike has fenders too, because it started to rain and I gotta have that protection from the wet road. I love how we're like 2 hours into the stream and I haven't acknowledged the title of the stream. I think someone asked right at the beginning of the stream what was up with the title, and I just haven't acknowledged it. So that's a fun. Not to brag or anything, but I had a pretty good night last night. Riff says, I love the cold. It's part of why I find Canada so tempting. Overall, similar weather to PNW, but more cold days. True. Nothing says Oregonian as much as a bike trail up your back. Oh, yeah, no. I have fenders. I'm trying to avoid it. Vancouver, BC is pretty much Northwest Oregon. It is the PNW still. Exactly, yeah, it's all PNW. I think there was some consideration for me of like, I want to move to this part of the country just in case we need to hop up to Canada. But then now that I'm here and the fucking monumental effort that it took to move all of our shit, like, at this point, if we have to bug out to Canada, it's gonna be like we don't get to take all of our belongings with us. And I think I would rather just like hunker down and create safety here. I've already said that before though. Always wear a helmet. Yep, I have a high priority on surviving, and so I always wear my helmet. Don't have a kickstand? Ooh, get lights on back. Yeah, my the bike shop that I take my shit to, they were like, you should get these lights so that you're road clear. You have to have lights on your bicycle if you're riding it after dark, and since the days are getting shorter, that made perfect sense to me, so I invested in some good headlight and tail light situation. I never read the title. Yeah, no worries. Honestly, Canada may end up no better than the US. Yeah, okay, I've been saying this and I keep coming back to it. I think the United States is uniquely situated to deal with a collapse of this scale because of our decentralized governance process. I think when you are if you're in Canada and you're relying on a national health service, like that's what is fucked up about the UK is like the National Health Service can just be like, we don't want to provide this care anymore. And then you have to pay a bunch of money to get it, right? And most people don't have that. They pay their taxes because they expect to get those services off the NHS. So, they might have a higher tax burden. I don't actually know if that's the case, but they may have a higher tax burden, but then they get more out of it in public services. And then those public services can just decline to provide the care, which is fucking crazy. But, so I do feel like being in the United States is kind of safer in that way, where like, if Canada decides like our national health service, and maybe it's a little bit decentralized by province, but even so, the provinces are bigger than our states. They're I think the bigger the government is, the harder it is to account for everybody's needs. So, yeah, that's my position still is like a progressive state in the United States is probably better than anywhere else in the world, as fucked up as that is. Sundown here can be 4:30 p.m. at the earliest. Yeah. Thank you so much, Nadia, for being a member of the YouTube Horde for 11 months. There's a like you can once a month redeem a super chat basically. Yeah. So you've been a member for 11 months. I see that. But it's like I'm explaining to the people like or maybe I used the wrong word. Thank you for being a member for 11 months. The redemption of the super chat says, I was in the Pacific Northwest from 2000 to 2008, and I once visited someone in Corvallis. Great people and great place. Summers there were already too hot then. If it's now worse. Yeah, the summers here can be hot, but it doesn't last very long. As far as like maybe you'll have like 3 or 4 days where it's pretty hot. But the thing is that it's cooling down a lot at night, which I think makes a big difference. And that also means that it takes a long time for it to get to the peak hotness in the middle of the day. Like in Kansas, if it's 90 degrees during the day in the summer, it's only getting down to like 72 at night. And so then it warms back up quite quickly in the morning. Here, it might be 90 degrees during the day for a few days in a row, but it's dropping back down into the 60s at night. Like maybe even the 50s at night sometimes. So then it takes a longer time in the morning for it to get super hot. So, yeah, I don't know. I like it better in that way. Maybe Iceland would be safer because no one is there. Tempting for me. There's a reason I really want to finish all my medical transition stuff before needing to run if required. Yeah, because it's easier to get here in certain ways. Iceland is actually extremely queer and trans-friendly. I think it is ranked #1 in the entire world. Wow. Yeah, but I don't know how that works as far as emigrating across an ocean. That's a pretty tall order. So I guess I shouldn't say like there are no safer options than a progressive sanctuary state in the United States, but that it may be too high of a burden to make that move. I have told you guys a couple times about the family that I know that is trying to buy a house in France, and they are making good progress on that. They're moving from Texas to fucking France with as much of their stuff as they can, and with animals and stuff. They're like trying to be somewhere safer. The whole family is learning French, and I think that they're going to be able to move pretty soon. So that is exciting and sucky that it had to happen, that they're leaving behind like a multi-generational home that they've invested a lot of money in upkeep and renovation and stuff. So it is sad still, but I'm glad that they have the resources, right? Not everybody has the resources. Icelandic seems frustrating to learn as Finnish from an American perspective, maybe. France is fucking Islamophobic. Okay, cool. This is what I just said. Every place on Earth is going to have some kind of issue, right? At least it's safe for trans people there. Like, we're just trying to do our best finding safer options. There is no safe option. This is why I feel pretty okay with being in Massachusetts. The U.S. is not ideal, but where is? Yeah, truly. Oh my God, my throat. My throat's sore, and that doesn't even have anything to do with what I did last night. Annoying. Mm. French people have always been rude to me as an American trying to talk to them. I know. Go drink some tea. I did. It's all gone now. Although you are right. I do think I was just thinking about this. I do need to, I think after stream or like anytime I have an appearance, I think I need to do a herbal tea with lots of honey and because like I don't know, I just need to find ways to take care of my voice. Maybe, and I probably should be more dedicated about doing a warm up before stream instead of just like launching in and now I'm talking for 3 hours, 4 hours. French people are not what you think. They are not progressive. So it's not necessarily about the French people. Like, I'm not trying to give the French people credit for anything, but like, okay, so think about this. In the United States, when we're passing laws, we pass laws and then like later a judge can step in. So it's not even like a judge will step in by themselves if the law is being broken, right? Someone has to say, I have been damaged by this law because it's unconstitutional. And then they have to go to the courts and ask the courts to look at the issue and then deliberate on whether it was constitutional or not, right? And there can be injunctions, but sometimes a higher court can say, fuck you, take the injunction down. We're going to continue enforcing that perhaps unconstitutional law while we shake out in the courts whether or not it is unconstitutional, right? So harm is being done that whole time. Harm has to be done in the first place before the courts will even consider whether a law is constitutional, you know? But in France, they actually have, basically, it would be like if in the United States, like the legislature is going to pass a law, they get the law all finalized and they're ready to vote on it. And then a court, a judge, maybe even a few judges who are well versed in constitutional law, they look at the law before it even goes to vote, and they determine whether it is in line with the Constitution. Before harm is ever done, before the law ever passes, they can say, no, this law is against the Constitution and it's not going to pass, right? That's the system they have in France. And that is why I think that is like a desirable option, because, you know, human rights abuses are prevented rather than human rights abuses are responded to after the state mobilizes against people's constitutional rights. You know, like, I just think whether or not the French people are progressive, their government system and their passionate history of protest, it results in a country that is much better to live in. The Cascades literally divide the states into two very different environments. Yeah, Eastern and Western Washington and Oregon are quite different politically and topographically. Nadia says, the things that I was told that spurred me to get on the first flight out of the country I could get in January make me now say that it would be a very good idea for people, trans people specifically, to get out of the country as soon as possible. My information came from an adjunct professor who does statistical work for the California Republican Party. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I just, there's going to be people at every stage of this, and I think I am going to try to stay here. Like, that's what I would really like to do. I don't want to have to move. I'm now that I'm here, I love it here, and I don't want to go. So I understand that probably things are going to get worse for trans people. I'm just kind of banking on having the protection of a blue state. Why move to France when you can stay somewhere with no Islamophobia whatsoever, like Texas? Exactly. I also enjoy how in some countries, judges can order the legislature to create new laws to protect citizens' rights. Fucking true, right? Yeah. The system we have in the United States is crazy. No! Mab says, shit, I just set my burrito to cook for 10 minutes, not 1.5. No! Even rural Western Washington has got a Nazi problem. Yeah, they're everywhere, right? There's nowhere you can go that's perfectly safe. It's just a relative safer. And again, part of my decision making for moving to Oregon specifically is because I think Oregon does lean a little purplish sometimes. It would just take a little bit of gerrymandering to take away the, powerful blue thing. So I'm like, yeah, I moved to a red county to try to help keep this place protected and progressive. The Fuzzy Logic has been a member of the YouTube horde for 3 months and redeems a message saying, I've been listening in the background. As a New Yorker living in England, I say tea is the best part of living here. Nice. That's awesome. I don't know what's typical for tea in England, but, they've been doing it for a while, so they work on it. Basically, what I usually do is I'll have either a black or a green tea, depends on what the mood is, and then I will do a splash of heavy cream or double cream, and then honey until it's to desired sweetness. I don't know if that's normal. That's just what I've developed. Shakespeare says it's getting a lot worse for us fast in the United States with SNAP benefits getting cut off and lots of emergency food talks have been going on in the community. Yeah. I participate as much as I can. Like, one thing that I've done that I would encourage other people to do in food insecure, if you're trying to help address food insecurity, especially if you live near a farm or any farmland, check out if there's a volunteer program that I've helped with that basically, if there's a harvest that they're unable to get all of it, or maybe it's not worth it to hire the workers to do a second harvest if the first harvest was their main one, but you can go volunteer to pick vegetables and fruit, and then the majority of what you pick gets donated to people in the community, and you also usually get to have some. So I still have some fruit from when I did it most recently that I need to can or dehydrate or something. It is taking me forever to figure out what to do with it. Later, Quantum Chaos. Good night. So yeah, if you want to help and you don't have money to spend on helping people, making sure that harvests don't go to waste. I also would suggest, if you can afford it, obviously the season is about to end for farmers markets, but if you can afford next year to donate, or sorry, not donate, but to give your money to farmers market, small businesses, because they will often donate their excess as well. In a way that I don't know if larger companies do, but smaller companies will. If they don't sell all of their produce within a certain time, they will donate it to food pantries and shit. So if you're going to be buying groceries anyway, try your best to support local businesses, because that also tends to have knock-on effects where your money also covers some of that produce that's being donated. I heard that Snap was is it basically just going to run out of funds on November 1st? Yeah, that's a fucking problem. An important thing, a friend knocked the sense into me when I said, those areas aren't that bad, relatively still safe. My friend said, I'm from the South. We don't do half measures on our safety. That hit hard in all the right places. Do you mean like becoming comfortable with self-defense? Because that makes sense to me. I support that. For the most part in the UK, we do plain builder's tea, which is plain black tea, taken black with milk or with milk and sugar, kind of like how Americans drink filter coffee. But the tea aisle in the supermarket is usually a whole aisle of different varieties, and wars have been started over brand preference, which tends to be regional. That's fun. Cool. I think, yeah, I don't have a strong preference for black tea or green tea. It really just depends on the tea and what's the mood that I'm in. Are we just like misspelling Oregon or mispronouncing Oregon in a million ways? Is that what we're doing? Leah Land, welcome in. I find very funny those stickers and stuff that say Oregon, like G-U-N. They're very funny to me. Yellow tea is best tea. Is that oolong tea? What is yellow tea? IDK what that is. Yellow tea from the pee-pee? No. No pee-pee. Oh. Pee-pee big, pee-pee little. Whenever I see a big, loud truck, I'm like, look at his tiny pee-pee! Yeah, y'all are just inventing new tea colors? What? Nadia says, inside information has been leaking out of the Republican Party about what they're going to do. It's extreme enough that people need to hear it from people they trust. Oh, so you're saying, like, it's so extreme that it's like, it's unbelievable unless you hear it directly from someone that you trust? I mean, we did just see the leak of the Young Republicans chat thing, which was talking about gassing their political enemies and things. So, like, I guess, like, you know, I understand what their stated intentions are. I get it. Like, I understand what their stated intentions are. I'm just finding myself in a weirdly Republican mindset about it of, like, fuck you, come get it. Like, I don't know, you know, like, I just don't see how they're going to execute on that kind of plan when there are millions and millions and millions of people in this country who vehemently oppose what they're doing and who are willing to get out there and put their bodies on the line to protect their neighbors, right? Like, I just doubt their ability to follow through on the things that they want to do. But I've been surprised numerous times already. Maybe that's the normalcy bias hitting me of like, well, no, it's not gonna, whatever. Like, or maybe not a normalcy bias. There's probably some better term for it, but. Chicago showed up well yesterday. I think, like, it seems to me that every place showed up well, like even places that folks were not expecting. You know, small town red areas were having no kings protests because, I mean, I know that we, you know, I don't know. There's a really vocal minority that I think is messing with our perception of these issues. Rednecks hate the cops. You know this, right? Like, rednecks fucking hate the cops. You know, they make fun of their family members who become cops, right? Like, you know, so there is going to be a contingent of rednecks and conservatives who think that it's bullshit what's happening. I'm worried that EBT will be non-existent next month because of the federal shutdown. That's a reasonable fear to have, I think. You know, this situation requires capitulation from one side or the other, and I think that Democrats are in the right to say, fuck you. You are not about to triple healthcare costs for every fucking person in this country right now. That's not going to happen. not every person, whatever. Anybody with a marketplace plan for sure, though. Anybody who doesn't have subsidized healthcare through their employer. It's like, this is going to be something, I'm about to get an accountant, and this is going to be something that I'm going to need to discuss and ask questions about. Like, considering that the subsidies for the marketplace are about to end, how much is it going to cost for me to get myself health insurance through my company? You know, like, am I going to have to pay thousands of dollars a month, or even, like, I think even paying like $600 a month? But is that an expense that I can write off? Like, if it's an expense that I can write off, then that would be better than nothing. But like, oh my God, that's still... Food banks are a thing. Yeah, that's true. I've also heard that there are shortages at food banks now because so many more people are relying on them. So it's already cheaper to take a healthcare vacation. Yeah, when we do a little medical tourism to Mexico or something. Tanya says, yes, I'm from Appalachia, West Virginia, and we have always been anti-government to the core. Right. Generations of hating the government. Next year's healthcare for me went up over 10%. I suspect that might be on the low side of the average. Are we seeing that already? Like, we are able to see already, like, hey, because the subsidy is not present, we already know for sure how much it's going to go up next year? Fuzzy Logic says, I've read that the No Kings attendance estimates range from 13 million to 18 million nationwide. Cool. I wasn't able to find anything conclusive earlier, but... Burrito take 2. Yeah, good luck, Mabs. Frustrating because I don't ever splurge, and this month I splurged to support a local place that's closing due to tariffs, but now I have no idea about November and the future, literally getting food on the table. Yeah, things are about to get, like, way worse, right? Like, things have already gotten way worse, but what is going to happen if... How many millions of people use SNAP benefits? Hold on. How many people on SNAP USA? In 2024, an average of 41.7 million people in the United States received SNAP benefits per month, which is 12% of the U.S. population. And I'm seeing corroboration from that on a couple different things here. Yeah, 12% of the... Guys, what's going to happen next month when 12% of the population can no longer fucking feed themselves? Like, is that, like, the conditions is that part of the insurrection that they're starting to, like, they're trying to foment retaliation from the people. And, like, I don't know of any group of people who's more likely to retaliate than people who you're starving. So I don't know if that's part of their deliberate plan as far as the, like, accelerationism that the administration is participating in. Like, I don't know. A bunch of people must have been kicked off already to get under 14%? Maybe. People with nothing to lose can move the world. Yeah, but I mean, it's a bunch of people with nothing to lose and, like, no resources to fight back, you know? I guess maybe a person with nothing to lose might sell everything they own or get a crazy credit card to go out with a bang. But that's the problem, right? Is that it seems as though this administration is trying to create a situation where someone out there does something to justify their retaliation. They are just barely constrained by the facts right now that like the assassination, the alleged assassination attempt on Trump and like the assassination of Charlie Kirk, those were done by right wingers, and so they're struggling a little bit with finding someone to point to. Although I will say the conversation about trans people seems to have died down somewhat after that shooting at the Catholic school. In fact, didn't Matt Walsh just declare victory? Like, there was one survey at a college that was like, it showed a slight decrease in the number of students identifying as non-binary. And they're declaring victory. And I'm like, you claim that victory, babe. Listen, Matt Walsh, you did it. You did it, Hunty. You did it. Victory over trans people. Whew. Lucky we had you. And hopefully they will shut the fuck up now. Like, I don't... Girl. Yeah, Welsh shared a faulty survey and declared trans is over. And I'm like, let them. Maybe they'll leave us alone. Truly, yeah. Let them fucking chill the fuck out about it. Leah says that she's seen that 7 million people attended the No Kings protests nationally yesterday, give or take. Yeah, I'll see. Yeah, have I don't know that we have any numbers. Do we have numbers? How about CNN? Do you got some numbers for me? When haters come at me now, I'll show them that screenshot and say, but trans is over. What's your problem? True. Okay, so CNN says that organizers of the No Kings protest have said that there were nearly 7 million people at more than 2,700 events across all 50 states, which police have said were mostly peaceful, with many large cities reporting no protest-related incidents or arrests. So cool. This is like a pretty large and uniquely peaceful response to what this administration is doing. So that's cool. They stopped talking about the Minnesota shooter when they found out that that was a right-wing Nazi who originally targeted a trans house venue like my friend's place. And once the narrative doesn't fit, they just drop it every time. Yeah, it does. Like, I think that they might be realizing that this is not the fucking move. That, like, talking about trans people all the time, their own constituents find it so irritating. Their own audiences find it so irritating. It's not winning you anything. Like, it seems like they're performing better attacking immigrants than they are attacking trans people. So it's like, why not just double, triple down on the immigrants thing, which I'm not saying is good or anything. I'm not saying that's preferable. I want to be completely clear that that's not what I'm saying. But just from an analytical standpoint, it appears that the anti-trans stuff is actually losing them points, political points, and anti-immigrant sentiment is just as strong as it ever has been. So it kind of seems like they're falling more back into that. I don't really know, though. We'll see. We'll fucking see. I keep being surprised. The Minnesota shooter, the Minnesota shooter actually targeted Shakespeare's friend's place and had hand-drawn blueprints of their house. We are definitely trying to find a balance between visibility and safety. It will be nice when we stop getting targeted for existing and needing health care. No shit. Oh my god, that is so scary. But it kind of, I guess, like, I don't know, Trump keeps saying, oh, transgender for everybody, transgender, blah, blah, blah. I just think that maybe that's part of the problem is, like, the president and his, like, rambling is trying to pretend like transgender is the biggest problem in this country. And it's like, Even to your own rabidly hateful constituents, you look like a fucking idiot. Talking about shit that doesn't matter while people cannot afford groceries. While their healthcare premiums are about to double, triple, quadruple. Like, yeah. %12 of the fucking United States population on SNAP benefits. Like, ugh. I need these for my eyeballs to work. Cool. Are you a wonderful little baby boy? The people don't want to see you today. They've seen too much of you recently. They're not donating that last $45. They don't care about you. I'm sorry, bud. Rip. Did you know Einstein was a socialist and Tupac was a communist? Nope, I did not know that. I do want to stick around for another 25 minutes, but my water's empty, so I'm just going to run and refill it, and I'll be right back. Mr. Baby. Mr. Baby. I'd donate if I weren't so poor. Rip. Listen, if y'all are poor, don't worry about it. I was just doing a goofy little guilt trip. That's it. I've appreciated. There have been several times recently where I've gotten way more donations than I was expecting during stream, and that is wonderful. And y'all know I'm working hard with the line, so I'm earning more money that way. And I think it's going to help that, like, we're not recording the podcast this upcoming week, because Monday is a day where I'm like, I really wish that I could just fucking buckle up and maybe record some videos or something. I'm kind of, I'm not doing a great job with, like, time management, if we're being completely honest. But, you know, we're trying. It's so interesting when someone leaves like 80 million fucking comments on the same video. They're like, I'm just going to keep commenting on this one video, different things. Like, you could have put it in a thread. You could have responded to your own comments, but instead it's like a wall of just your comments. Do you do voice talent work? No, I haven't. I have signed up to do voice acting, but I never ended up like seeking any jobs through it. It's not like a very lucrative thing. I guess I would, you know, if someone was paying well, but people nowadays, they're like, I'll just use AI and not pay someone. The problem with being a trans content creator means your viewers are flat broke, babe. I know. That's part of why I've been interested in like breaking out into a broader audience. That's, you know, I really would love, I think the goal, the kind of far, far, far off goal is to someday hit 100,000 subscribers on my own personal channel. Because I think that would be a number that's like, I'm consistently getting a decent number of views on videos, and I'm consistently getting, plenty of viewers during streams, and therefore like a commensurate amount of donations. I think that I would be like totally stable if that were the case. And it's just a matter of gaming the algorithm at that point, you know? Oh my God, are you okay? Hi. I heard a narration that sounded just like Luxander. Oh, that's cool. The T-slur voice. Are you okay? You scratch your butt? You want me to scratch your butt for you? Yeah, that's what he wants. Make sure to get a good brand of pepper spray. Yeah, pepper gel is better than pepper spray. You should do gaming content, I guess. Get more subs. Yeah, but I don't want to. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just going to keep trucking away doing my own thing. That's the thing, is you keep trucking away doing your own thing, doing the thing you want to do, and you will eventually end up with some amount of people in your community who like the things that you do. Excuse me. I can either donate a small amount every session or donate a bunch every few hangouts. Listen, I do love it. When I get like a $50 dono, I'm like, ow! Like, it feels good. So I don't need you to do it every single time. It's fine. Wish someone would scratch my butt. I know. He's at a good height that like he can just be down there by my feet and I can just use my foot to like scratch his butt. Are you a weirdo? Yeah, I'm talking to you. You're the weirdo. I'll get him a collar and then get him used to wearing a collar so that I can put the lavalier mic on him. That's my plan. I'll get him a nice little collar. You heard the Hassan and doggy thing. What's crazy is I heard about the Hassan dog thing via my friend Dizzy. So I heard about it and got the situation resolved in all in one fell swoop, because my friend Dizzy was like, I looked at this situation and determined that people were freaking out about Hassan doing something he literally didn't fucking do. And then I saw some people talking on Blue Sky about like how what happened with Hassan and the dog vindicates some schools of thought around there's this idea that an increase in surveillance will result in more accountability. But it seems that an increase in surveillance just results in more punitive action toward otherwise relatively innocuous behaviors. And that seems to be what's occurred with Hassan. He's like on camera all the time. There's a high degree of scrutiny on him. His life is very public in some ways. And so the number of eyes on him and the propensity to view the dynamic as requiring a system of accountability between the audience and the creator, and I'm sure that dynamic plays out in other situations. It's just the particular parasocial dynamic at play here kind of seems to me as though, like mostly the result that we get is a higher degree of punitive behavior from one side of the parasocial dynamic, or the way that kind of was being reflected, I think, as the surveillance state. Like, so in this case, the audience and the surveillance state are occupying the same location of the dynamic, in which they are using their increased access to you as a way to acquire enough information to defame you or harm your reputation or even punish you in some way. And yeah, I think that that's really interesting when that dynamic plays out in that way. Obviously, it's not a good kind of interesting. It's just fascinating to think about. Yeah, Dizzy has written multi-page rants about the situation in my friend's Discord. Yeah, I texted Dizzy. I was like, I'm really glad that you're the first person I saw talking about this, because I was able to learn about the controversy and then put it to bed all in one, just fell swoop. So shout out to my friend Dizzy for caring very avidly about animal rights and, putting the analysis out there.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Miro Nono, for your $5 super chat, who says Beethoven wrote Furry Elise for his friend Elise, who was a furry. True. Thank you very much. I appreciate that dono. I will add it to the donation goal. Just so y'all know, when you do a super chat, YouTube takes between 30 to 40% of your donation. And I also don't receive the money until late the following month. So like it's October now. If I get a super chat right now, I will not receive it until like almost Thanksgiving. So just so you know, want you guys to be aware, when you donate directly through my website, the only thing that gets taken off of it is the PayPal fees, and everything else comes straight to me, and I get it in my account like the next day. So thank you, though. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate the engagement and the donos. Oh, that sucks. I've been on HRT 3 years and lost everything and my career in aerospace IT because of everything happening. So I'm now looking into the sex work and street pharmaceutical industries. Yay. That's rough. I'm so sorry. Yeah. It's crazy how we can like lose our access to regular, not even wealth accumulation, but just like survival shit. You know, we lose access to a basic thing like being able to have a job. And then people get mad at us for being freeloaders or something. Wasn't Thanksgiving last week? For the Canadians, yes. For Americans, it's not until like late in November, which is stupid, to be clear. I think after the stream, I'm going to have one of these fucking disgusting electrolyte mixes because I feel like I'm drinking a lot of water, but it's not like helping me feel hydrated. Yes, it is YouTube payday soon. Soon. Yeah, later this week we get YouTube payout, which is exciting. I love when I get paid. Love getting paid. I think I'm going to get paid pretty well this month too. I had that one video pop off last month, and that was cool, I guess. Hassan Derangement even reached Andrew Cuomo, and that's pretty funny. Dude, hearing Hassan name dropped during a debate was crazy. Like during a mayoral debate, it was wild. I only get my YouTube payout every few months. Yeah. You have to get to that $100 minimum. It's been a couple years since I didn't meet the threshold. I usually get just over the threshold. The Bomb Pop Liquid IV is great. Okay, I'll consider it. Yeah, multiple times. Do you condemn Hassan? Wild. Naomi says, federal jobs are not a thing for people like me anymore, and I was never very excited about contributing to mass surveillance, possibly. It is so obnoxious how a government job is supposed to, and like, it's not even talking about just trans people, but in general, government jobs are supposed to be reliable, steady, like a career employment. It's basically like if you were a secretary, but you never had to worry about the company potentially going under, you know? And now it is like one of the least stable forms of employment. It's crazy. That sounds really scary, Nadia. Yeah, access to medication is imperative. Who cares about Cuomo? He's the most unbearable politician. I am like surprised. I actually asked this when we were live reacting to the debate. I'm like, is this how we get legitimacy for third parties? Is that like when a Republican or a Democrat candidate can't secure their own party's primary, are they just going to start running as independent? Like, because Andrew Cuomo has absolutely forced himself into this mayoral race, you know? For, like, I didn't know that was an option. For if you don't secure your own party's nomination through the primary, then you can just fucking say, I will create competition for the winning Democrat on the ticket and just run as an independent. That seems wild. And the fact that they have continued to offer him legitimacy, like, you understand that someone made a decision to invite him to that debate. Yeah, Cuomo's never respected a no in his fucking life, truly. Unless you can stealth perfectly, if you have any amount of self-respect, a normal job for most people is an insufferable experience for trans women because it's way harder to maintain sanity. Yeah. Being openly trans or outwardly visible as trans, it makes everything significantly more difficult. Yeah. I loved when he was like, Zoran, you look tired. It's the second round. And everything was like, what happened in the first round? Wait, what did happen in the first round? What is he talking about? I'm glad Mamdani was reversing some of the bullshit thrown his way as clear Islamophobia. I thought it was really funny how Zoran would make some kind of point, and then Andrew Cuomo would try to snipe at Zoran, and then Zoran, and then the Republican guy there would be like, "Well, fuck you, Andrew Cuomo. Here's all the bad things you did." Like, it kind of felt like a little bit of a tag team against Andrew Cuomo, a little bit. Okay, yeah. So he forced himself into that situation with the support of the DNC. Yeah, the DNC siding with Cuomo after fucking Mamdani won the primary is insane. Sliwa is the Republican who is polling at less than 5%. He is not on the table. Yeah, throughout history, you can see liberals and centrists. Well, yeah, people like that. I don't know if liberal and centrist are terms that would apply throughout world history, but I see what you mean. Like, allegedly left-leaning people joining hands with fascists to take down communism and socialist policies all over the place. Yeah. What I thought funny as a New Yorker is that Curtis Sliwa is as much of a joke candidate as Trump was when he came down the escalator. He's not even really a Republican? Oh, wow. Oh, round one. I guess so. Round one was when Cuomo announced his independent run, referring to the general election as round two, with the primary implicitly being round one. Oh, okay. There's only two rounds. Like, I don't, that doesn't really, it's not a metaphor that really makes a lot of sense. Like, oh, I'll beat you in round two then, as well as round one. Dumbass. Like, whoa, weird. Shakespeare says Sliwa is a terrible person, but is genuinely crazy, and you can't focus group that kind of genuine crazy. I liked him a lot more than I ever thought I would during the debate, but he's still an awful person. Yeah, I don't know anything about him. I mean, like, I must assume as a Republican that he's bad in some way because, like, they pretty consistently are bad. But, yeah, I don't know. I mostly just enjoyed him taking Andrew Cuomo down a peg. That was funny. Just gonna eat some salt really quick to try to make the water that I just chugged actually stay in my body. I'm like, because I already have to pee again. It's not been long enough. I didn't know what the Guardian Angels was. The Guardian Angels thing that they kept talking about. Like Sliwa was a member of. I don't know what that is. But he's only polling at 5%, so we don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about him taking any of the votes away. Like, really, legitimately, this is an election between Andrew Cuomo and Mamdani. Like, that is what it is. Not gonna lie, the I knew Mario Cuomo and you're no Mario Cuomo was pretty funny. Yeah, it was pretty funny. I actually saw some Republicans at the rally yesterday. Like I said, there are Republicans who think that what's happening is bullshit and they don't like it, you know. There's a vocal minority who are supporting it, and you see them on social media but that does not necessarily reflect what real people believe. Someone commented on one of my videos, "You sound like a man and look like a man. Are you a man?" And I kind of want to reply like sometimes, but also it's on my video about how they're about to declare trans people a terrorist organization. So I kind of want to tell this person to eat glass. I'm not going to do that. I want to, but I'm not going to. Although I have been, that is something that I have been doing. I've been like, okay, I made a video about how my very existence and advocating for my very existence could potentially be justifiable cause to label me a terrorist. And that's scary. And that's a bad thing in society. And for you to come in here and try to say like, oh, there's only two genders or you look like a man. It's like, you don't have any fucking decency. And this is one of the angles that I've been taking recently, instead of trying to be like, well, you know, let me use this opportunity to educate you or something. I'm trying to like hammer a little bit on this, the shame, the social shame, and the like, I'm like attacking people's sense of their own personal decency. Like, you think you're a decent person coming into my comments to say this shit to me when my existence is under threat, like direct threat. I don't know how well that's working, but I am trying to, like, you know, hit some new angles that I haven't tried before as far as persuasive approaches. Yeah, it's time to man up, truly. Hi, in a box. Yeah, stream is still going. We usually go for another hour past right now, but today I'm going to cut it a little bit short because I have some things that I need to do this afternoon. I kind of want to cook myself some food, like the dinner that I was supposed to cook last night and decided not to. I'm kind of thinking about cooking it for lunch now. But we'll see. And I've got I need to run some Alterac Valley today. I need to get at least 50,000 more honor, or I can't even keep all of the honor that I've made so far. Yeah. So we're kind of winding down a little bit. Yeah, remember, folks, that pronouns are brand spanking new. The dog whistles are crazy. Like, the people will come in and say, I don't like pronouns. And we're like, okay, well, you just used one because you said I. And they're like, that's not what I mean. And I'm like, yeah. Because what you mean is I don't like trans people, but you can't just fucking grow a pair and just say, I don't like trans people. That's something that bothers me so much, is when people try to hide behind like a moral argument, or they're trying to hide behind a scientific argument or something, but really they have a moral opposition. It's like, just say you don't like trans people and then we can have a conversation about the real problem, which is that. Not with whether or not, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Fucking obnoxious. I just got mine yesterday. Just got my pronouns yesterday. True. It's 22:55 MEZ here. Is it 14:55 PST? It is 13:55 PST. Usually we go until usually we go until 1500 hours, but today we're going to stop at 1400 hours, which is in a few minutes. Yes, literally, Viren. Sometimes people need to be reminded that they're being antisocial, and sometimes they also need to be convinced that being antisocial is bad, truly. That reminds me of something that I just was reading. I can't remember what, hold on. I lost my thought for a second there. Mountain eucalyptus, welcome in. I have a big fucking bushel of eucalyptus in my bathroom right now. It smells incredible. Sometimes people need to be reminded that they're being antisocial. Oh, yeah. It was about public spaces. And there's this weird thing right now where people treat public spaces as like, this is a place where I should be allowed to do anything that I want because it's public space. That's like literally the fucking opposite of how it works. Private spaces are spaces in which you can do whatever the fuck you want and nobody can stop you and there's no checks on that behavior. When you're in public, like, when people do shit like listen to TikToks at full volume or take phone calls on speakerphone, it just seems like it's falling into this thing where they're like, well, you know, whatever, I'm in public, I can do whatever I want. Like, no, literally in public is the place where you moderate your behaviors and your impulses in order to be considerate of the people around you. And I think that kind of fits in with this anti-socialism thing, anti-socialism. But this thing about being antisocial and needing those behaviors to be pointed out, I really think we do need to have a stronger community sense. And that means getting off our own phones and paying the fuck attention to what's going on around us. And not just being like, well, I can put in my headphones and ignore this person. Like, we as a group, as a society, collectively need to be like, hey, that's antisocial behavior. People act so affronted. There's like so there is an issue of certain perfumes, or if you're wearing a lot of perfume, can cause people to have an asthmatic reaction and like stop being able to breathe. You know, I've seen this like with, you know, someone was like, I went outside to have a cigarette and I came back inside and one of the people in the group was like, I have asthma and the smell of your cigarette smoke lingering on you is triggering my asthma. And there are so many people who are like, well, what am I just like so I don't have my individual right to smoke cigarettes anymore? Because even though I went outside and did it, when I came back inside, someone had an issue, or like, oh, so I'm just not allowed to wear perfume anymore because someone might have asthma. And it's like, literally fucking yes. That's called living in a society. Your actions do not only impact you. And it's honestly insane to me that there are so many people in so many different situations where they're like, well, whatever, I have the right to do literally anything I want. And if someone else has a problem with that, even if it's that they can't fucking breathe, that's not my problem. Like, okay, well, I'm going to cut that sentence off there. Nothing good was going to happen if I continued to speak. So let's just cut it off there. I'm sure y'all understand the feelings that I have toward that mentality. Ember says, I've been seeing a lot of MAGA mavens who are way more clocky than any trans person I've ever seen, and they're cis. It helps my dysphoria a lot. True. Oh, I'm sorry. Also need to consider that we can't always wear earbuds. Then, like, I'm sorry, you're out of fucking luck. If you're like, I can't wear earbuds, like, okay, well then you like get over the ear headphones or don't listen to things on public transit. Like, the rules don't suddenly not apply because you think you have a worthy exception. Yeah, exactly, Gayfesh. That's the mentality. I have a right to do whatever I want, no matter how many other people lose access to public spaces as a result. Masks, bitches. Wear a fucking mask. Like, there are people who are so sensitive that even if they are wearing a mask, they cannot be in public if you are not wearing a mask. So, like, yeah, your desire to go places and do things without a mask is making it to where, like, a number of people that is unquantifiable cannot exist in society anymore. You do have the right to do whatever you want, but there are also consequences to those wants. That's not actually true. Like, you don't have, like, a right to be shitty to people. It's not a protected thing. There's not like a punishment for it, but that's different than there being like a protected right to do something. And of course, the term right gets used in a colloquial sense as well. Like, you know, someone filmed the protest I was at. I caught it on Blue Sky. You can see me for half a second wearing a mask. See? It's easy. You can do everything you want to do. Just do it wearing a fucking mask. A paper just came out putting together a lot of information that I've already been seeing over the past several years, which is, yeah, confirmed fucking COVID is airborne AIDS, basically. Basically, it is doing all the same kinds of damage to the body. There are some differences, but girl, it's only been 5 years. We have no idea what this is going to look like in 10, 20 years. Wear a mask. Oh my God. Okay. Being an asshole, in fact, can be curtailed legally in certain circumstances. Yeah, like if it's harassment or whatever, like, yeah, you don't actually have the right to be an asshole in public. There are limitations on that, legally speaking. Are there still free PPV programs? I haven't been masking very often since before I was unhoused because I can't afford any. I am sure that there are. I'm sure it depends on where you live, though. Mask block is a search term that I would look for. Or like just getting in touch with local community centers and seeing if they have a program where they're giving any away. If you can afford a one-time purchase, there are like very reliably reusable ones that I think you might even be able to just switch out the filter of them. Mask help with protest as well. I heard that they were allegedly deploying some new surveillance techniques like eye scanning technology at protests, which seems kind of unfeasible. I mean, like if you just consider like my eyes are blue with central heterochromia. To you, my eyes look stone fucking gray. So like I don't really know like with cameras, like cameras miss so much of the detail of eyes that you would need to be like right up close to be able to get a good clear image. So I'm not really sure how that would work in practice, but what I'm saying is I have heard that they're trying to do workarounds of deploying additional types of surveillance technology to get around masks. And so the evolution of fighting back against that kind of doxing it's just going to continue, right? There's like people are painting their faces in ways that are disrupting pattern recognition software. Yeah, it's going to continue. It's like an evolutionary arms race. We're just going to keep evolving here. June recommends Envo reusable masks. Gait recognition and heat signature recognition and more are also out there. Yeah, like being able to identify you by the way that you walk. Endangering others by not wearing a mask, especially while wet coughing and not covering one's mouth, is actively harming others. Noise pollution also harms others, just in another way. Yeah, you could say like a less invasive way or something, but it's like fundamentally what we're dealing with is antisocial behaviors, like behaviors that are counterintuitive for social cohesion. We have a socially cohesive society when we consider the needs of others, and we voluntarily, ideally, change our behavior in order to accommodate the fact that we live in a society full of people with differences. Gait recognition, and I think it's facial geometry rather than scanning of the eyes. Yeah, that would be where the like high contrast black and white paint kind of comes in. Drea earlier said, words are so often used to obfuscate. It hurts my brain that something which is used so heavily to communicate is also used to actively not communicate. True. Eye scanning technology is based on pupillary distance for fingerprinting people alongside other data points to determine the probability of someone on video being you. Yeah, understandable. Software that can be fooled by contouring. Yeah, just learn how to contour, babes. Just get really into makeup. That is, I guess, the next thing that I need to get. I have eyeshadow, I have eyeliner, which I need to practice more of my eyeliner skills. I have mascara. I would like to get, like, there is something, I guess, honestly, though, my glasses kind of do it for me. If I'm wearing my glasses, it kind of accomplishes the same goal, because in order to help increase, like, the look of your eyes being this way, which I want because my eyes are more like this, you can do a dark contour here and then, like, a light highlight contour here, and you blend it out, and it, like, angles your face. So maybe I'll get there eventually. Oh, of course I heard about Bad Bunny. Yeah, that's old news by now. Yeah, gonna paint my face in mud like Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Predator. Okay, it's a little bit past when I said I was going to log off today. I'm going to go ahead and log off now. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out, for hitting the like button, for donating, for sharing, all of that jazz. If you're around later tonight, I'm going to be producing for the line After Dark show. There was some scheduling issues, so I don't actually know who's supposed to be on tonight, but I don't ever ping the Discord for shows that I'm producing, but I'll be there if you want to be there also. And other than that, I think I'm planning on just seeing you guys on Wednesday, unless something crazy happens between now and then. So thank you again, everybody. I appreciate y'all being real ones. And next time, I will see you.